Part 83. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 821. Once again, Mr. Han was unfortunately right. The Spring Festival was supposed to be the peak season for real estate sales, but the sales of Jingxiu Xiangting were not as expected. Ying Ying and Lu Ligan said they felt they could no longer sell. Why? Lu Ligan asked. There are too many. I searched all over Hangzhou and found almost a dozen properties for sale, all trying to grab the opportunity during the Spring Festival. In comparison, our disadvantage comes out. What are the disadvantages? Lu Ligan asked. The most obvious thing is that the supporting facilities around us are very poor, and there are few buses passing by. Several properties such as Qiwen and Zayawai are further away from Woolen Square in the city center than us, but because they are originally dormitories for government agencies, it is a gathering place and the departure point for buses. There are also shopping malls, kindergartens, primary schools, hospitals, etc., which have already been built over there. These buildings are crowded there and they take advantage. But here, we don't have these yet. I feel too lonely and have not yet formed a nice little environment to live in. Are these so important? Of course, don't underestimate these. The advantages and disadvantages of just a bus departure station will come out. Everyone must take the bus every day. If it is the departure station, you can always get a seat 5 or 6 days out of 10. Where are the other stations? Moreover, it is the departure station for several buses, almost all of which go directly to the city center. We only have 2 buses here, and you have to transfer to Woolen Square. Which one is more convenient? There are 2 people who drive to see the house. They don't care about the bus, but after looking at our community, they feel that there is not even a garage, and they feel that it is not convenient. Suitable. Are the properties you went to see multi-story? Yes, it's the same as ours, it's a 6-story building. Lu Ligan understood that since the market for off-plan properties was wiped out by himself, multi-story houses are the type of housing with the least investment and the fastest results. From the foundation to the capping, you can buy it in March or April and receive the full payment. No wonder even Xiao and his company want to do real estate, and they chose Qiwen. It seems that guy did not read for free. He also conducted detailed market research before entering the real estate market. The sudden appearance of so many real estate companies in Hangzhou has already worried Lu Ligan. He is worried whether the fanatical scene in Haikan will happen again. He felt that almost overnight, Hangzhou's real estate industry had entered the Warring States period, and entering the Warring States period would definitely be accompanied by war. Lu Ligan was even considering whether he should provoke this war in the first place. It deters many people who are waiting and want to come in, and at the same time, it eliminates many colleagues in the budding stage. There are many reasons why Lu Ligan had the courage to do this. First of all, of course, he had completed capital accumulation through Splendid Home when others had not yet started. Secondly, the sales of his splendid Jiangnan project is good, but there are currently no competitors for office buildings of the same type in Hangzhou. High-rise buildings are not something that can be achieved overnight. Lu Ligan believes that by the time others get up, his splendid Jiangnan will definitely have been sold out. Moreover, judging from Fan Jiangguo's experience learned from Hong Kong and the plans he made, even after splendid Jiangnan is put into use, it will still bring him property management income every month. Third, the cost of splendid Xiangting was already paid back in the first phase, and the cost of acquiring this land was very low. What also makes Lu Ligan feel confident is that he has Mr. Yang behind him, who can provide him with a lot of financial support, so that he can have enough ammunition and food to fight this battle. Lu Ligan was thinking, his heart was ready to move, and he wished he could jump on his horse with a sword and kill in all directions. But the reasons that made him fearful and afraid to take action were also multifaceted. The most effective way to defeat the enemy is of course price. As long as he lowers the price of splendid Xiangting to the floor price at one time, 501 square meters, he believes that all the projects on sale in Hangzhou will scream. The result of the wailing is that they will have to follow up. The result of the follow-up is that the real estate prices in Hangzhou will plummet collectively. After jumping into the water, Lu Ligan is not sure when he will be able to climb up. This is likely to cause the real estate in Hangzhou, which has just been heating up, to enter a period of freezing. After entering the period of freezing, no one knows when it will be unblocked, and they will inevitably be unlucky. Also, it will definitely be a huge blow to the homeowners who have purchased a house in Jingxiu Xiangting. If they don't do it, they will definitely make trouble. The result of the trouble is likely to cause another group incident. This is his Lu Lizan couldn't control it. Lu Ligan didn't even know whether it would affect the home buyers of Splendid Home. This was something he couldn't bear. The most frightening thing is that his company is likely to become synonymous with cheapness and unpredictability. If a company like this wants to build the best house in the country and sell the most expensive house in the country, go to hell. Lu Ligan thought about it and was in a dilemma. He was even a little annoyed that Mr. Han came too late. If he had come earlier and reminded himself earlier, he might not be in such a dilemma like now. He would definitely Splendid Home. After I found my first pot of gold, I gave up multi-story buildings and became a high-rise building in Splendid Xiangting. Lu Ligan sat alone in the office for a long time. Wen Wen and Qian came in and were kicked out by him. The result of his thinking was that nothing moved. He couldn't start a war. He couldn't control the scope and couldn't decide the end of the war. If Splendid Xiangting is going to die, this project will die, and if it is going to die, it will die alone, but it can't die in vain. Lu Ligan is not a person who is willing to surrender. Lu Ligan makes up his mind, the more for such a bad project, the more he wants to make it a high-quality product, even if the cost will increase significantly, it doesn't matter. He can't make any money here, but he still has to make a reputation. Consumers are good at comparison. At similar prices, even though they have some location disadvantages, compared with other houses, they must do better than others. The landscape of the community must also be improved. It has to be better than others, so that the people who live here are very satisfied, and the people who did not live here and chose houses of other companies feel regretful. Lu Ligan detained Lao Wan, and then called Fan Jiangguo and Ying Ying. The two came up. Lu Ligan told them to mobilize all your relatives, friends, and classmates to find connections with the Provincial Industrial and Commercial Bureau and the Municipal Industrial and Commercial Bureau. What are you doing? Ying Ying asked. It would be best to find out how many newly registered real estate companies there are every week. If possible, it would be best to obtain the shareholder composition and shareholder background of each company. Fan Jiangguo and Ying Ying whispered to each other in Hangzhou dialect for a while, and decided that Fan Jiangguo would go to the Provincial Industrial and Commercial Bureau, and Ying Ying would go to the Municipal Industrial and Commercial Bureau. Go and find out more about the procedures required to open a private kindergarten, Lu Ligan and Ying Ying said. Mr. Lu, do you want to open a kindergarten? Ying Ying asked. Lu Lepole nodded. Where to do it? Didn't you say that our Jingxiu Xiangting lacks supporting facilities? If there is no kindergarten, we will set up a kindergarten ourselves. After more people live here, we will find connections and try to get the bus company to add more lines from us. Go through. Ying Ying said, but there is no land anymore. I would rather build one less building and build a kindergarten. In that case, the cost will increase a lot, Fan Jiangguo said. Yes, even if we don't make money, we still want to make this the best community. When we can't get both fame and fortune, we have to choose one. From the perspective of the company's long-term development, I choose fame, and I will earn all the profits. It's a short-term profit, but fame can last for a long time, and it will eventually make us a profit. Fan Jiangguo and Ying Ying understood and agreed. Then start moving immediately, Lu Ligan shouted. Not long after the two of them left, Lao Wan came in. Lu Ligan told Lao Wan his thoughts. Lao Wan said yes, and I would arrange it immediately. Also, the rubber factory project deadline must be pushed forward. If the manpower is insufficient, we will recruit more people and try to relocate them in advance, Lu Ligan and Lao Wan said. He has already decided that the Wangjiangmen area will become his and the first high-rise residential complex in Hangzhou. Lu Ligan, must give up the multi-story building. Also, don't reduce the number of people in Dehuayuan. They are already accustomed to the requirements there, so let them stay there, Lu Ligan and Lao Wan said. On Sunday, they did not go to eat spicy food, but ate in Zhang Shenji's private room. Zhang Chen, Xiao Zhao, Tan Shuhen, He Hongmei, Xiao Wu, Lu Ligan, plus Xiang Nan and Xiang Bei, there were 8 people in total. This time, Lu Lizan did not bring Wen Wen and Qian, which made Xiao Zhao relieved. She secretly took a look at Tan Shuhen. Tan Shuhen noticed it and asked, "What are you looking at me for?" Xiao Zhao pursed his lips and smiled, and Tan Shuhen asked again, "Why are you laughing?" Xiao Zhao quickly said, "Okay, Sister Shuhen, I won't laugh even if I don't look at it, but don't ask why." The others all laughed and looked at Lu Ligan and then at Tan Shuhen, who blushed slightly. Zhang Chen asked Xiao Wu, "How is work?" Xiao Wu said, "It's okay, but it's a bit boring. I don't do anything every day. I just sit there and follow wherever the boss goes. Isn't that what being a bodyguard is like? When someone shoots, you have to block the bullet," He Hongmei said. Lu Ligan glared at her and cursed, "You have watched too many foreign movies, and you can still block bullets. There is no way to block bullets. Is his boss at the level where someone shoots and assassinates him? At most, there is someone take a hoe and rake him. Then how boring is this bodyguard? If he was energetic and busy every day, how popular would his boss be and how many enemies would he have?" Lu Ligan said. "How is the boss like you? Is he treating you well?" Zhang Chen asked Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu said yes, and Xiao Wu laughed as he said, "People in the company said that the boss was stingy, but I didn't feel it at all. He didn't seem stingy to me at all, and he even paid for me to learn a driver's license." "It's over," Lu Ligan shouted and pretended to cry. He Hongmei scolded, "Crazy, the boss is nice to him, isn't that okay?" "No, Xiao Wu is finished. More than 1,000 years ago, there was an old woman. Her neighbor said the same thing as you. Your knowledge is obviously not as good as that old woman. At most, it is the level of her neighbor," Lu Ligan and He Hongmei said. "What do you mean?" He Hongmei asked. "During the Warring States period, there was a general named Wu Qi. When he was leading the army, he shared the joys and sorrows with the soldiers. They ate the same food and lived in the same accommodation. One of the soldiers had a malignant sore on his buttocks. Wu Qi sucked the pus out with his mouth. Everyone was very happy to see it. Move." The news reached the soldiers' village. The soldier's mother, the old woman, burst into tears when she heard it. The neighbor asked her why she was crying. She said, "I'm crying for my son. My son is going to die." The neighbor asked her why she was crying. They were all surprised, saying, "Wu Qi is a general, and your son is just a soldier. The general sucked the pus from your son. You should feel that you have dignity, so why are you still sad?" The old woman said, "You don't know, it's just because the general was so kind to my son will definitely be grateful to him and will risk his own life on the battlefield. The general helped my husband suck a sore last time, and my husband died. This time my son was sucked again, and my son would definitely not live long. Sure enough, this son also died in the battle soon. Xiao Wu, his boss is the general, and Xiao Wu is the son," Lu Ligan said. He Hongmei nodded, "I understand, you are that old woman, but is it inherited in your family?" Your father's ass is rotten, and your son's ass is also rotten. The people at the table laughed. Xiao Wu asked, Brother Ganzi, if I go to your place, what will you do to me? Lu Ligan said without thinking, of course I will whip you every day. You're really good at talking nonsense, Tan Shuhen cursed, and Lu Ligan chuckled. Thank you to the 10,000 Years White Vote Party, reading books every day, on the shore 131, and the third-ranked reward from top to bottom. Thank you Tin Soldier for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 822. What made Lu Ligan feel a little relieved was the news from Fan Jiangguo and Ying Ying. Whether it was the Provincial Industrial and Commercial Bureau or the Municipal Industrial and Commercial Bureau, the number of newly registered real estate companies was not large, and there were an increasing number of new companies in other categories. In comparison, there are few real estate companies. In the 10 days after the Spring Festival holiday, there was only one Provincial Industrial and Commercial Bureau, and only 2 Municipal Industrial and Commercial Bureaus. These 2 were renamed from the 2 original construction companies in Gongshu and Zihua district. In fact, there were no new additions. The shareholders of the Industry and Commerce Bureau were also formed as a partnership between several people from Jianghan District's No. 4 Construction Engineering Company. Lu Li sighed. Then follow the established policy. We must imitate the green pine on the top of Mount Tai, standing tall and proud of the sky. An 8,000-mile storm cannot blow it down, and 9,000 thunderbolts cannot blow it down. The scorching sun will never kill you, the freezing ice and snow are lush. Lu Ligan suddenly hummed a song in his heart. Mr. Chiao from Shenzhen Angzhen Trust Co., Limited and Mr. Yang from Nanyang Bank will fly directly from Shenzhen to Nanjing tomorrow, and then from Nanjing to Hangzhou. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen are going to Nanjing today. Their purpose of going to Nanjing is to give Meng Ping some advice on the project before Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang arrive, so that Meng Ping can present it to Mr. Chiao and the others tomorrow. It will be more perfect and convincing. At the same time, Lu Ligan has experience in dealing with Mr. Chiao and others and knows how to deal with it, but tomorrow is Meng Ping's business after all. Lu Ligan can only act as a supporter from the side. The main force is still Meng Ping, and Lu Ligan has to talk to him. Tell me some tips on how to deal with it. Meng Ping's project is located in Xinjia Yikao, just opposite the Jinling Hotel. It is a row of 2-story storefronts of the Provincial Supply and Marketing Cooperative. Behind it is the warehouse of the Supply and Marketing Cooperative. The total area is more than 46 acres. Meng Ping has already completed the project. This place was bought, and the money for the purchase was borrowed by Jian Fang and the other girls. According to the agreement, after the construction is completed, Meng Ping will return the business area of 1,200 square meters to the Provincial Supply and Marketing Cooperative on the first floor for free. Of course, it can also be paid in cash based on the current housing prices. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan drove directly to the Jinling Hotel. Meng Ping, Jian Fang, and the others had already booked rooms for them and were waiting for them in the room. After getting out of the elevator, the 2 of them felt that the carpet of Jinling Hotel was very thick. It was thicker than other hotels. It felt soft when people stepped on it. It was silent when people walked on it. Why were such thick carpets used in the corridor? Zhang Chen and Lu, the vertical pole is also puzzling. Their room was at the end of the corridor, and they had not yet reached the door. Although the door was closed, they could still hear Meng Ping and Jian Fang arguing fiercely inside. Meng Ping was alone and they were 4. Meng Ping was obviously at a disadvantage. Lu Ligan rang the doorbell, ding dong, and the door opened. It was Li Yang who came to open the door for them. It turned out that Meng Ping was not alone, but if Su Jiaking was there, Li Yang made no sound at all. There were 6 people crowded in the small room. Meng Ping and Li Yang were leaning on the bed rails on the left and right sides. Sister Cao and Ye Yulan occupied the two sofas by the window. Qian Fang was facing Meng Ping, sitting upside down in front of the table. On the chair, his arms were placed on the back of the chair, and his chin rested on his arms. Su Jiaking sat on the table beside the table on which the suitcase was placed. They were talking about something when the doorbell rang and everyone shut up. Li Yang, who was near the door, stood up and walked over to open the door. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan walked in. Meng Ping shouted, "Okay, my reinforcements have arrived." Qian Fang and the others laughed wildly. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan looked at Meng Ping and asked, "What reinforcements? I can hear your loud voices from afar." As everyone talked, everyone's positions began to adjust naturally. Su Jiaking went to Li Yang's side. Li Yang gave her a comfortable position to lean on and stood against the wall. Sister Cao and Ye Yulan walked to the table where Su Jiaking was sitting, and gave the two sofas in front of the window to Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "We can just sit here." Ye Yulan said, "We are both young, so don't collapse other people's cabinets." Lu Ligan scolded, "We are also Yishu Linfen, okay. Okay, Yishu and Linfen, please go sit on the sofa," Ye Yulan said, and everyone laughed. Of all the people, only Meng Ping and Qian Fang's relative positions did not change, but their postures changed. Qian Fang stood up and turned his chair around. He no longer rode backwards, but sat there with his legs folded. Meng Ping he no longer leaned back, but straightened up and sat on the head of the bed. "What are you discussing?" Zhang Chen asked Meng Ping. "Have you ever seen women who are so hostile to shopping malls?" "They will definitely oppose me opening a shopping mall downstairs," Meng Ping said. Qian Fang said, "Don't talk nonsense. We don't hate shopping malls. We believe that there are already enough shopping malls in Xinjiang. If you open another one, it will definitely be useless. It is better to just build pure office buildings. Come on, none of us are the authority. Mr. Zhang has built Wanghai Mall in Haikan. He is the authority. We listen to his opinion." Meng Ping said, handing Zhang Chen a few pages of project plan on the bedside table to read. Before Zhang Chen picked it up, Lu Ligan took it first. He shook the pages in his hand and said to Meng Ping, "Meng Ping, have you made a mistake? You are all old turtles, and you just use these few pages to talk to other banks." Meng Ping said, "It's not urgent. It was delayed during the Spring Festival and we only got it the day before yesterday." "What about you, do you think this is okay?" Lu Ligan asked Qian Fang. Qian Fang said, "There's nothing wrong with it. The required data is all in it. Just add the land certificate and real estate certificate." "Blame me," Lu Ligan slapped his forehead and said, "I forgot that you are in Haikan. You are not working on projects, but second-rate dealers reselling land. You don't need anything else, as long as you have a red line map in your hand. That's it. Isn't this how we talk about projects?" "There's nothing complicated about it," Qian Fang said with a smile. "Sister, you're not talking about a project, you're talking about selling land. That's what landlords do. When landlords talk about sales, they only need a land deed," Lu Ligan said. "I don't know how you sold your villa. This is how I sell it. I convince people first and drive them over in a car. They see it on the spot and place an order if they are satisfied. Next time, he will bring his relatives and friends over," Qian Fang said. "There's no project book or renderings. Why do you want that? The actual house is there. People can take it and tell them about it," Qian Fang asked curiously. "Oh, my God, this is really a barbaric era, and it is also the best era. No matter how the house is sold, there are always people who want it." Lu Ligan exclaimed exaggeratedly, and even Zhang Chen laughed. He felt that this wave of operations was indeed too rough and unrestrained. Even if he rented out a stall in the dynamic zone, he must at least have a rendering to show it to him. Customers who rent a booth have an intuitive impression. It seemed that Lu Ligan was right. Meng Ping, Qianfang, and the others said they were engaged in real estate, but in Heiken, they were really just doing primitive operations like landlords. They only needed to hold a red line map and walk into a box. After drinking and drinking, they counted the money and came out. Meng Ping, you are going to raise funds tomorrow. They are from a bank, not here to buy land. They are not very interested in your so-called data. What they are interested in is where you are and what you want to build. This what people care about is whether someone will buy the things here and whether you can pay them back after you sell them. If your project can't impress them intuitively, they won't believe it. Your project can impress people who will come here to buy office buildings in the future. You can't impress them with words. You can't say, I'm very eloquent and can persuade people who come to buy a house, then you should immediately persuade someone to take a look and see if they will pay. Only a fool will look at these 4 pieces of paper and pay. Qianfang, you are right. You said that you brought people there and persuaded people to buy your villa. That is also because you are on site and already have a building and a model building built, so people can see you. What are you buying? If you don't even own this building, it's just a wasteland. Do you think people will buy it? Here, tell me, what can people see here? What do you have to show them? Just take these 4 pieces of paper and let them stand there and think stupidly. Meng Ping scratched his head and felt that what Lu Ligan said made sense. He asked, Gangzi, do you mean that this won't work? Of course not. What should we do? You need to have a rendering first, slap it in front of people, and without saying anything, people will understand at a glance that you are going to build such a building, and they will have an impression in their mind, and then go to the site to see it. Look, oh, it turns out that building was built here. It's a nice place with a good flow of people. Only then will people be interested in hearing what's inside, Lu Ligan said. Meng Ping looked at Qianfang and said with a smile, Qianfang, what the Pole said seems to make sense, right? Qianfang also laughed sheepishly. Lu Ligan said, it doesn't make sense, it's just how it works. Then Mr. Yang, go to the site of my splendid Jiangnan, see the renderings, look at the place again, think it's good, then look at the land certificate and construction. The land planning permit confirms that the land is indeed mine. I haven't said it yet, but Mr. Yang himself will give me 80 million. I said I don't need money to build this building. He said you can buy whatever you want with it. He also said that if it's not enough, you can increase it. Banks don't hold money just to look good. They also need to lend it out in order to make money. As long as they have confidence in you, they feel that they have caught a high-quality customer, and everything else is easy to say. Where does this confidence come from? You have to use pictures to calm him and show him a living future, not an illusory one. Just these few pieces of paper, you just use 10,000 adjectives. Is there a picture in it? Where are your pictures? People still learn traditional Chinese characters. They can't even recognize the simplified Chinese characters on these 4 pages of yours, so what's the use? It's really bad. What should we do now? Meng Ping was anxious. Why are you so anxious? Fortunately, I brought the experts here, so I can make temporary arrangements, Lu Ligan said with a smile. Meng Ping, Qianfang, and the others looked at Zhang Chen and smiled. Zhang Chen immediately wrote a list, writing everything from paper, pens, and paints to utility knives, KT boards, and edge strips. He also told Sister Cao and Li Yang where to buy this item. Sister Cao and Li Yang took the list and left immediately, and Su Jiaking followed them out. Zhang Chen took out his sketchbook from his bag and said to Meng Ping, let's go and see the scene. Good. Meng Ping jumped up from the bed, and the group immediately went out. The 4 pieces of paper were thrown by Lu Ligan on the coffee table between the 2 sofas. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 823. Meng Ping took them to the scene. When they arrived at the scene, Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan had to admit that Meng Ping had a very vicious vision. This place was located on Zhongshan Road, Zhongshan East Road, Zhongshan South Road and Hanzhong Road. The intersection, this intersection, is no ordinary intersection. In the middle of the intersection is the famous bronze statue of Dr. Sun Yat-sen. This intersection is similar to the Liberation Monument in Chongqing. It is actually a small square with a wide view. It is really suitable to build a skyscraper here, and this is the most lively and prosperous area in Nanjing. In this place, if it would be a pity not to build a shopping mall underneath the building. But there are already so many large shopping malls around here. Qianfang still insisted on her opinion. This has no impact, Zhang Chen said. Today's shopping malls are different from before. Instead of everyone crowding into one shopping mall, they have begun to be subdivided. The shopping malls have begun to be subdivided, and the customers have also begun to be subdivided. Hiken there is Wanghai Mall, but it does not affect DC City. There are so many department stores in Shanghai, but Huading Isitan still has to come in, and business is still booming. A city as big as Nanjing should also have its own Huading Isitan. I mean high-end shopping malls. There is the most high-end shopping mall in Nanjing below the highest building. This complements each other. And with such a large flow of people here, we don't need to build a shopping mall. It's really a pity. Also, for a 52-story office building, how many people will work in it? If it is a pure office building, commuting will cause congestion, and there is a large shopping mall below, which can actually divert people. Because many people are commuting to and from get off work, they may choose to go shopping in the mall and enter and exit the elevator on the second, third, and fourth floors, so the crowd will not be concentrated in the lobby on the first floor. Because I have to go to the mall, the time of going up and downstairs will naturally be staggered. That's so good, Meng Ping shouted. I just feel that there should be a shopping mall here, but I can't explain so much. Zhang Chen, what you said is so good. Qianfang, how do you think? Qianfang smiled and said, okay, I was convinced by Mr. Zhang. Mr. Zhang, how do you know so much? It's not surprising. I go to shopping malls so much that I forget that we work in shopping malls. Whenever a famous new shopping mall opens in the country, I will go there. If I watch too much, even a fool will understand. Zhang Chen, he also smiled. Yes, he is humble enough. This is a good character, Lu Ligan said from the side. But Lao Meng, since you want to build the highest end shopping mall, I have a suggestion, Zhang Chen said. Say it, Mr. Zhang. I opened my own dynamic zone, and I have a feeling. I feel that in terms of commercial formats, the original format of large shopping malls will be eliminated. Shop within a store is the way out for shopping malls in the future. My own dynamic zone, after it was launched, I felt that the store within a store would be more upscale than the original open business model. The bigger the brand, the stronger its personality. Shop in store can well demonstrate their personality, which is something that an open store cannot do. In the future, you must have something. The threshold is that if it is not a world-famous brand or a well-known domestic brand, it will not be allowed in, so as to maintain your status as a high-end shopping mall. This is a good suggestion, Mr. Zhang. Think about it again and see if you have any other suggestions, Meng Ping said. Zhang Chen thought for a while and said, also, you should not only have shopping here, but also food. The fourth floor can be used as a food court, also in the form of a store within a store. In this way, when people are here, not only are they, buy it, you can eat when you are tired of shopping, and your company upstairs has dinner parties and banquets, so you don't have to leave this building. Great, great, I accept all your suggestions. Meng Ping smiled. Zhang Chen was talking, but his hands did not stop, and he continued to draw. While he was talking and drawing, the image of a building was formed in his mind. This place contains so many things. Function, then this building, from appearance to internal structure, must be modern and fashionable. The exterior is made of all glass curtain walls, standing gleamingly at this intersection, blinding people's eyes. It is so high that it can even illuminate the ancient city of Nanjing. This place covers an area of more than 30,000 square meters. It is large enough. It should be outside the building. Don't leave any space for people to stay. Too many people stay outside the mall, not only affecting the traffic, but also unsightly. He decided to adopt an atrium design, which is the periphery of the building, close to the road outside, but leaving a huge atrium inside for people to rest and stay. There is a garden and children's play area in the atrium, as well as fast food and outdoor coffee. He wants to guide people on the road outside to the atrium inside. Even the entrance and exit of the underground parking lot are located in the atrium, and only through several roads in and out are connected to the city roads outside. In this way, vehicles will pass quickly, and no matter how many vehicles there are, they will not cause congestion on the road outside. While Zhang Chen was sketching, the whole idea was slowly maturing in his mind. When he finished sketching the surrounding environment and closed the sketchbook, he felt that he was already confident. They returned to the room, but Li Yang and the others hadn't come back yet. Meng Ping called Li Yang and Li Yang said he would be there soon. Zhang Chen shouted from the side and asked him if he had bought all the things. It didn't matter if he would be there soon or not. Zhang Chen already felt eager to give it a try and wanted to put the ideas in his mind onto paper as soon as possible. On the other hand, he was worried about whether he had purchased all the materials and whether it would affect his creation at night. Before Meng Ping asked, Li Yang heard Zhang Chen's voice on the phone and shouted, "Don't worry, Mr. Zhang, we have bought everything. We also bought what you forgot to write down." "Forgot to write? What?" Zhang Chen asked. "Eraser. Why do I need an eraser?" Zhang Chen was confused. "Hey, you're drawing, do you need an eraser?" Zhang Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and he didn't bother to care. He said, "Okay, you are so thoughtful. Thank you, Li Yang. Come on, let's go eat first, and then we'll see Mr. Zhang after dinner." Meng Ping shouted, and the group left the room. When they arrived at the elevator, Meng Ping pressed the up button and asked to go to the revolving restaurant upstairs to eat. Qian Fang said no, that was for people who were in love or had an affair. They were so naive that it was inconvenient to talk, so they should go there. Box below. Hey, that's right. The Nanjing dialect has come out, has it become local? Lu Ligan shouted. When Lu Ligan called out, Qian Fang realized it and smiled. "I think this word is very funny. You can't speak loudly when you eat on it. It's like being too talkative." Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan agreed with Qian Fang that it was so boring to have a pretentious meal and not be able to speak loudly or laugh loudly. Lu Ligan pressed the down button. They sat in the box for more than 10 minutes. Just as the food was served, Li Yang and the others came back. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan felt that the horse was arriving as quickly as possible and seemed to be much faster than before. Zhang Chen was alone in the room and drew a rendering of the building, then he drew a rendering of the atrium, and then he drew a rendering of the shopping mall. Feeling that he still had more to say, he simply drew a rendering of the lobby of the office building. After finishing the painting, it was already past 4 o'clock. I went downstairs alone, walked out of the hotel, and squatted on the curb to smoke. Looking at the low houses opposite, Zhang Chen felt a little excited as he imagined what the building he had just finished painting would look like when it stood here. On the road, the street sweepers had already come out. When they passed by Zhang Chen, they looked at him and asked, "Did you quarrel with your wife?" Zhang Chen pointed to the building behind and said with a smile, "No, I'm staying in a hotel. I can't sleep. I came out to get some fresh air. The air in such a high-end place is not fresh." Zhang Chen shook his head, it was stale and suffocating. Zhang Chen stood up and took out a cigarette and gave it to the other party. The other party quickly said thank you and took it, but instead of smoking, he clamped it to his ear and told Zhang Chen that it was a high-end cigarette and he would smoke it later when he was tired. Zhang Chen took out another one and gave it to him, telling him to light it up. The other person then said thank you, took it, and Zhang Chen lit it up for him. The two of them stood and chatted for a while. Zhang Chen said to him, "Okay, I won't delay your work." The two waved goodbye, and Zhang Chen went back upstairs to look at the painting hanging on the bed. There was nothing that needed to be modified. Zhang Chen moved everything on the table, put the KT board on the carpet, cut it out, and put it on the table. He framed all 4 paintings and tied them with strips. It was almost 6 o'clock, and it was very hot outside. A bit hazy. He took the framed painting and walked to the opposite side. He heard the faint sound of someone talking in Lu Ligan's room opposite. He rang the doorbell and the door opened. Lu Ligan and Meng Ping were not asleep yet. The two people are still chatting. Zhang Chen handed the painting to Meng Ping, and Meng Ping exclaimed as soon as he saw it, "Oh, Zhang Chen, you can paint better than I dreamed. I thought about this place hazily, and now, haha, it's all there. How about it? Isn't this more convincing than your 4 pieces of paper?" Lu Ligan asked. Yes, Meng Ping said with a smile. He looked up at Zhang Chen, his eyes were bloodshot, and he quickly called out, "Zhang Chen, you have worked hard all night, go to bed quickly, I will call you at lunchtime." "Didn't you guys work hard all night?" Zhang Chen said. "It's not hard, we are bragging." "What's the point of bragging?" Meng Ping said with a smile, "bragging is the opium of men. The more you brag, the more excited you become. No, I want to call Qian Fang and the others over and let them take a look at this painting, can't wait any longer." Zhang Chen returned to his room, took a shower, fell on the bed and fell asleep. When the phone woke him up, Zhang Chen looked at the time and it was already past 1 o'clock. Qian Fang asked Zhang Chen to go down for dinner on the phone. Zhang Chen said yes and would be there right away. Qian Fang laughed softly on the phone. Zhang Chen opened the door of the box and was stunned for a moment. He saw 2 strangers inside. After Lu Ligan introduced them, Zhang Chen knew that these 2 people were Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang, Meng Ping, and Lu Ligan. "We just picked them up from the airport." When introducing Zhang Chen to the 2 of them, Lu Ligan said that the Ban Mu Tian store on Yan'an Road in Hangzhou and the Dynamic Zone on Stadium Road both belong to Boss Zhang. Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang have been to Hangzhou many times and are very familiar with these 2 places, especially the Dynamic Zone. They heard that Zhang Chen is the boss of these 2 places. Both of them were a little excited and said that Boss Zhang was honored to meet him. And looked at each other. Lu Ligan's heart skipped a beat. "Thank you Tianying 1978 for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 824. Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang also stayed at the Jinling Hotel. Meng Ping rented a small conference room here, and they negotiated in the conference room in the afternoon. After eating, everyone went back to the room to take a rest, and the meeting started at 3 in the afternoon. Lu Ligan called Su Jiaqing and Li Yang aside, handed his car keys to Li Yang, and told them that your task in the past 2 days is to accompany Mr. Zhang and ask him not to show up in this hotel again, and leave now. Lu Ligan said this to them again, and both of them said they understood. Su Jiaqing and Li Yang went to Zhang Chen's room. Su Jiaqing asked, "Mr. Zhang, have you ever been to Sun Yat-sen Mausoleum?" Zhang Chen said no, he had been to Nanjing several times, but he really hadn't gone anywhere. It really comes in a hurry and leaves in a hurry. Su Jiaking pointed at Li Yang and said to Zhang Chen, "Let's go, Mr. Zhang, let's go to the presidential palace first, and then to the Sun Yat-sen mausoleum, so that he can stay in this authentic Nanjing B takes us to play." Li Yang kept laughing on the side, and Zhang Chen also laughed and said, "Do you, Su Jiaking, also want stupid B? He also calls me dumb B. We are a pair of dumb Bs and we have the same chemistry," Su Jiaking said, and Zhang Chen laughed. Zhang Chen stood up and was about to leave, but then he remembered again and asked, "Don't we have a meeting in the afternoon?" Zhang Chen thought to himself that he would have to attend a meeting in the afternoon. If Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang had any problems with the internal structure and functionality of the building, he knew best and could help answer them. "It won't open." The two people from Shenzhen said they are a little tired. They need to rest in the afternoon to recuperate. "We will start driving tomorrow morning." Zhang Chen nodded, and the three of them went down to the parking lot and got into Lu Ligan's handsome car. Li Yang got excited and said, "Damn, this car." Su Jiaking urged, "Hurry up and drive." Li Yang said okay and left. Zhang Chen was surprised and asked, "It's just the three of us?" "The pole is on Lao Meng's car," Su Jiaking said. They arrived at the presidential palace, walked around and came out, but did not see Meng Ping or Lu Ligan. Su Jiaking said that they went directly to Sun Yat-sen Mausoleum. When they arrived at the Sun Yat-sen Mausoleum, they still didn't see Meng Ping and Lu Ligan. Su Jiaking stood there, looked around, and cursed, "Qian Fang, this idiot, agreed to wait in the parking lot, where did they go? Forget it, stop looking for it. Sun Yat-sen Mausoleum is so big. Who knows where they went? Let's play by ourselves." Zhang Chen took out his big brother and said, "I will beat Lao Meng." Su Jiaking shook his head, "Stop fighting, there is no signal here, big brother, let's go up by ourselves." They went up and down and returned to the parking lot. It was already evening. When they got to the car, Su Jiaking said, "Mr. Zhang, have you ever been to Suanwu Lake? How about we go to Suanwu Lake?" Zhang Chen shook his head, "I've never been there, but I've seen it before. When I took the train, the broken lake in front of the train station was Suanwu Lake. What's so fun about it? It's the same as West Lake. The water is smelly. There's no West Lake yet. Fun. You don't know, he is a foreigner after all," Su Jiaking said with a smile. "Suanwu Lake is not for fun, but for watching. It is interesting to watch Suanwu Lake while eating. Let's go to Suanwu Lake Hotel," Su Jiaking and Li Yang said. Zhang Chen asked, "Lao Meng and the others also came here to eat?" Su Jiaking did not answer, but talked to Li Yang, who was driving in front. She and Zhang Chen were sitting in the back seat together. Zhang Chen took out his mobile phone and wanted to call Meng Ping. Su Jiaking took the phone over and said, "I'll call." Su Jiaking dialed Meng Ping's phone and said to Meng Ping, "Lao Meng, we were on the way to the Suanwu Lake Hotel. Mr. Zhang asked where you were. Okay, you tell Mr. Zhang." Su Jiaking handed the phone to Zhang Chen, and Zhang Chen asked, "Meng Ping, where the hell have you been all afternoon?" Meng Ping laughed, "We are looking for you too. The phone is not working in that damn place. Zhang Chen, you and Su Jiaking go to dinner. That Mr. Yang, who is so crazy, insists that we accompany him to Confucius Temple. We are going to pick him up now, so we won't come over. What fun is there in this broken Confucius Temple? There is really nothing we can do. Zhang Chen, we will have dinner at the Confucius Temple to kill some time. They may also want to eat duck blood vermicelli. Foreigners are like this. You can eat yours. That place is nice." Zhang Chen said okay. They arrived at Wanghuxian Palace on the 20th floor of Suanwu Lake Hotel. They had obviously made a reservation. Su Jiaking walked to the door and told the waiter, who took them to the side near the floor-to-ceiling glass. Outside was Suanwu Lake, but at this time, it was already dark outside, and it was pitch black. Zhang Chen asked Su Jiaking, "Is this what you said about seeing Suanwu Lake?" Su Jiaking and Li Yang laughed. Su Jiaking said, "I can't see it anymore, so let's eat it." When the food arrived, maybe he was hungry. Zhang Chen felt that the food and snacks here were really delicious. Su Jiaking asked, "How is it, Mr. Zhang?" Zhang Chen kept nodding. Su Jiaking said, "Is it a worthwhile trip?" Zhang Chen still nodded. After finishing the meal, he went downstairs and got in the car. Li Yang drove the car, but instead of going back to Jinling Hotel, he went to an unknown place, an antique building, and parked the car in the yard. As soon as he got off the car, there was a pungent smell coming from the side. Su Jiaking and Zhang Chen said, "This is the Qinhua River." Zhang Chen walked to the edge and took a look. There was a river about 4 or 5 meters wide outside. It was called a river, but it was actually a ditch. The odor came from this ditch, and passed through it on both sides. Looking at the light reflected in the house, Zhang Chen saw that both sides of the ditch were lined with dilapidated and low-rise dwellings, and the buildings were quite old. Opposite there is a small pier built with stone slabs, and there is a woman scrubbing the toilet on the pier. Zhang Chen walked back and asked Su Jiaking in disbelief, "This is the Qinhua River? The famous Qinhua River? You won't lie to me, a foreigner, right?" "How could I lie to you, Mr. Zhang?" Su Jiaking said. Zhang Chen looked at Li Yang, and Li Yang nodded. Zhang Chen had to believe it even if he didn't believe it. It turned out that this was really the Qinhua River. Zhang Chen felt that he heard the sound of broken dreams, but aren't dreams meant to be broken? No matter how beautiful a dream you have, the result that wakes you up will always be bad. Li Yang led them inside, and Zhang Chen asked curiously, "What are we doing here?" "Foot massage and pedicure are all performed by masters from Yangzhou. I guarantee that after you have your pedicure done, you will definitely come back next time. You can't find this place even if you are not a local in Nanjing," Su Jiaking said. They entered a room on the second floor. There were 4 recliners in it. The recliners were covered with white bath towels. They looked very clean. The window on the lakeside was open. Su Jiaking said to the master, "Close it and quickly close the window." "Close it, it stinks." The master walked over and closed the window. When he came back, his nose seemed to be dull, so he twitched his nose twice and told them that for some reason, the river water had been particularly smelly these past 2 days. Su Jiaking said, "I don't know how the people living on both sides of the river can bear it. You just need to get used to smelling this kind of stuff. People who come here say it smells bad. We work here every day so we can't feel it." Zhang Chen almost laughed. "No wonder your nose is dull." The 3 people lay down on 3 deck chairs, and 2 more masters came in. They all spoke with the same accent. Zhang Chen asked the masters, "Are you speaking Yangzhou dialect?" "Talk on the street," the master said to Zhang Chen. "Talk on the street? Where is the street?" Zhang Chen asked. "In the suburbs of Yangzhou. People who don't know outside may think that what we speak is all Yangzhou dialect. In fact, we Yangzhou people can still tell them apart. We Yangzhou people will only call the dialect in Yangzhou city Yangzhou dialect, and the dialect in the suburbs, yes, as the saying goes, we are all from the suburbs of Yangzhou." Zhang Chen nodded and asked, "In Nanjing, do you have many people in Yangzhou?" "Many, in barber shops, restaurants, bathhouses, and pedicure shops like ours, we bump into fellow villagers," the master said. "That's right, aren't your famous 3 knives in Yangzhou, the kitchen knife, the razor, and the pedicure knife?" "Master, have you been learning this since you were a child?" "At the age of 16, if you don't want to study anymore, just learn this. It's hard to find a job, so you just learn a craft. If you don't learn this, there's nothing else to learn. All the masters you can find are doing this. But now, we have many factories there. Now, there are fewer people learning this. Zhang Chen nodded. When the master was talking to him, he kept rubbing, pinching, kneading, scraping, and pressing with his hands. Zhang Chen felt that he really felt very comfortable. He looked at Su Jiaking beside him, and Su Jiaking also while looking at him. Seeing him turn his head, Su Jiaking smiled and said, "Comfortable." Zhang Chen said, "Comfortable. I also need a pedicure. After the pedicure, I feel more comfortable," Su Jiaking said. The master seemed to have heard Su Jiaking's speech. He then took out his pedicure knife and carefully trimmed the old skin on Zhang Chen's heels and toenails. After trimming, he also used a file to file it. After getting his pedicure done, Zhang Chen stood up and said with a smile, "I feel like my feet are one size too small and I can hardly fit them in my shoes." Su Jiaking, Li Yang, and the pedicure master all left. The three of them walked outside and got in the car. Li Yang asked Zhang Chen if he wanted to take a bath in the bathhouse and rub his back. The two Yangzhou masters he knew were very good at doing back rubs. Zhang Chen said no, just go back to the hotel and wash it yourself. Okay, then let's go rub our backs tomorrow night, Li Yang said. I started the car and drove slowly on the road. The street trees in Nanjing were the same as those in Hangzhou. They were all French plane trees. Although the leaves of the plane trees at this time had fallen off, their fine branches were no longer as sad as they were when it snowed a few years ago. It seems that the branches are very tough and strong. Zhang Chen knows that for each branch, there will be a bud bursting in the spring breeze. At this time, they are accumulating energy. Every branch will be green and strong. Those remaining branches have been blown away by the autumn wind and fallen by the snow. They walked around on the road for more than half an hour. Zhang Chen saw that the street scenes on both sides of the road were vaguely familiar. I went, "Isn't this the road from the Suanwu Lake Hotel in front? Why are we back again instead of going to the Jinling Hotel? Are we going back to that eating place again?" "Yeah, let's get something," Su Jiaking said. Zhang Chen understood. It turned out that they left something in the restaurant when they were eating. But the three people and three bags seemed to be there, so they didn't leave anything behind. However, the girls had a lot of things in their bags. Who knows if they would? Zhang Chen couldn't ask questions if he left his lipstick or something. The car stopped in the parking lot in front of the hotel. Zhang Chen and Su Jiaking said, "I won't get in." Go up, go up, go up with me, Mr. Zhang, I know you are the best," Su Jiaking said, a bit coquettishly. Zhang Chen had to go down. The three of them entered the elevator, and Su Jiaking pressed 12 instead of the 20th floor where Wang Huxian Palace was located. Zhang Chen was surprised. "Aren't we going to the restaurant?" "Why are you going to the restaurant?" Su Jiaking was also surprised. "Didn't you mean to get something?" "Oh, go get it from the room. You live here?" Su Jiaking nodded randomly. "Not bad," Zhang Chen exclaimed, "the 5-star hotel is used as a dormitory." Su Jiaking still nodded casually. Walking along the corridor to 1209, Su Jiaking took out the key card and opened the door. Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment. This was obviously a new house. It didn't look like someone had lived in it. "What were you doing here?" Su Jiaking said, "Mr. Zhang, this is your room." Zhang Chen was taken aback, stunned for a moment, and then shouted, "Su Jiaking, what are you doing? Why do you feel so weird this afternoon?" Su Jiaking and Li Yang laughed wildly. "Thank you to the 10,000 Years White Vote Party, ranked 3rd from top to bottom, and 131 on the shore for the reward. Thank you for your monthly votes from Safe Life, Worms Never Fly, 8 Liang, Sample Thieves, and Book Friends 1506200240158869. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Yang. Chapter 825. Jinling Hotel. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the meeting between the two parties was held on time in the small conference room on the 5th floor. On one side were Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang, and on the other side were Meng Ping, Qian Fang, Ya Yulan and Lu Ligan. The four renderings drawn by Zhang Chen were placed in the conference room. When Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang came in, their eyes lit up. They looked at the renderings and whispered something in Cantonese. Mr. Chiao asked, "Mr. Meng, where is your project in Nanjing?" Meng Ping pointed out the window and said, "This is the opposite." "Opposite this hotel?" "Xinjia Yikao," Mr. Yang asked. Meng Ping said, "Yes, this is the opposite." "Then can we go down and take a look at the scene first?" Mr. Chiao asked. Meng Ping said yes. The group of people left the conference room, went downstairs, and walked outside the hotel. Taking advantage of the red light, Meng Ping led them across the zebra crossing and to the middle of the intersection. Under the bronze statue of Sun Yat-sen, there were many people. "Take pictures here." Meng Ping pointed to the corner, then spread his hands about a foot apart, made a vertical movement from bottom to top, and compared a cube in the air, and said to Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang, "Our building is built here." Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang nodded. Mr. Yang looked around and murmured, "It's still a crossroads." As a group of people walked back, Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang were still whispering something in Cantonese. Lu Ligan observed very carefully that there was excitement on both of their faces. Lu Ligan was thinking that something was going on, and he quietly gestured his thumb towards Meng Ping. Back in the conference room, Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang stood in front of the four paintings again, continuing to whisper something in Cantonese. From time to time, they pointed at the paintings and out the window with their fingers. Meng Ping thought to himself as he looked at it, the Pole was right. This project really needs pictures to be convincing. It seems that although the two of them have not asked anything yet, they are already very clear about the importance of this project. After sitting down, Mr. Chiao asked, "Mr. Meng, what is the status of this project now? Has it been implemented or is it still in the intention stage?" "Implementation has already begun," Meng Ping said. "We have now purchased this place." "You mean, this land is now under your company's name?" Meng Ping nodded, stretched out his hand, and Qian Fang gave him a brand new land certificate. Meng Ping pushed it to Mr. Chiao and the others across the conference table. Mr. Chiao picked it up, looked at it, and handed it to Mr. Yang. After Mr. Yang read it, he put it on the table and nodded slightly. Mr. Chiao asked, "Mr. Meng, how much money do you need this time?" 400 million, Meng Ping said. "Are you going to apply for a loan from one financial institution for these 400 million, or from multiple financial institutions?" "We're going to be just one family." "Then let me ask again, please don't mind Mr. Meng," Mr. Chiao said. "What I want to ask is, if our family meets your needs, will you apply for various forms of financial services from other financial institutions?" "Loan?" Meng Ping shook his head and said, "No, this fund can already ensure that the main structure of our project reaches more than 50%. However, in fact, when our project reaches plus or minus zero, we have already begun to collect payments. Therefore, we will not have financial pressure, and subsequent construction funds and repayments are guaranteed." Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang nodded, and Mr. Chiao asked, "How do you arrange the entire construction cycle?" "It takes 225 days from pile foundation construction to earth excavation until the completion of the basement structure. For the main structure, 16 days for the first floor, 16 days for the top floor, 8 days for each layer of the middle layer and equipment layer, and 180 days after the main structure is capped, roof and garden. The environmental supporting facilities are completed in 250 days, and all projects are accepted and delivered for use." The entire project takes about 30.5 months, Meng Ping said confidently. In other words, it's enough for us to provide you with a 3-year development loan, Mr. Chiao asked. Yes, actually we can start paying back the money in batches for the project in about a year or so, Meng Ping said. Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang looked at each other. Mr. Chiao picked up the cup on the table and drank tea, indicating that he had no questions to ask. Mr. Meng, I would like to ask, what are your guarantee measures for this fund? Mr. Yang asked. The project itself is mortgaged and guaranteed, Meng Ping said. Then will you still take out mortgages in the future? I mean, will the customers who buy your office buildings take out mortgages? Mr. Yang asked. Well, it should be possible. It depends on the customer's needs and their financial situation. In this case, there will not be a problem of repeated mortgages, and I think it will be difficult for them to obtain mortgages. If so, how can you guarantee that the repayment of your project will be smooth? Meng Ping was stunned for a moment. He really hadn't thought about this question. No problem. Ye Yulan looked at them and continued. As long as we hand over the mortgage to your company, and in the contract with the customer, we specify that you are the only financial institution that we recognize and can provide mortgage services, then this problem will not be a problem. You can gradually release the mortgage at the same time, the loan will be gradually recovered, or you can make a remortgage internally with the customer. Anyway, the other rights will always be with you. Mr. Chiao laughed first, followed by Mr. Yang. Mr. Yang said, Mr. Meng, I would like to ask if you can provide other guarantee measures in addition to the project mortgage. This lady should also know that if it is just a project mortgage, our risk will be too great. When Mr. Yang said this, he pointed at Ye Yulan. It seemed that he knew in his heart that this woman was not easy to fool. You mean it's not operable? Meng Ping asked. It's not impossible. In that case, even if we agree to release this amount, it will only be provided gradually in batches. Meng Ping said, there is no problem with this. We also hope to gradually implement it in batches. We won't need so much money at once. If you do it in batches, it can also save our capital costs. Mr. Yang waved his hand, it's not that simple. If that happens, we will have to supervise the funds. We will send our financial personnel to your company to review every expenditure. Only after approval can we spend. We know that in mainland China, if you do this, it will cause practical operational difficulties for your company. Meng Ping sighed inwardly. If that were the case, every money going out would have to be reviewed by you. That would be a fool's errand. Not to mention that the project would not proceed, my company would be damned. Our company can provide guarantee, Qian Fang said. Your company? Mr. Chiao was stunned for a moment and asked, aren't you the same company? No, Qian Fang shook his head, we are two independent companies with a relatively good relationship. We both have our own independent businesses. Miss Qian, could you please introduce your company's situation? Mr. Yang said. Qian Fang said yes, and then she introduced their company and the projects they had done. Are there any other projects? Mr. Yang asked. This is the project at the moment, and other projects are still under negotiation, Qian Fang said. Mr. Yang asked, how is the sales situation of your villa project? 70% already sold. Mr. Yang said, that means that the total value of the unsold part is still more than 20 million. It is impossible to use physical mortgage for this part, right? In that case, we might as well sell it directly and lend the money to Mr. Meng. The money will be a little more, Ye Yulan said. Mr. Yang smiled, that's what I mean. What I want to say is that it seems that for such a large loan, your company's guarantee capacity is obviously insufficient. I can provide a guarantee, Lu Ligan said. Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang were stunned for a moment, and Mr. Yang said, Mr. Lu, there is definitely no problem with your guarantee ability, but the problem is that you already have a loan of 80 million with us. If you provide another guarantee, I personally can't make the decision on this. Lu Ligan thought for a moment and said, "That's okay. I'll pay back your 80 million right away, and then give Mr. Meng a guarantee." Before Mr. Yang could speak, Mr. Chiao first said, "I don't agree with Mr. Liu's early repayment of the loan. You must know that Mr. Yang and others are not qualified to lend money in China. Their money was lent to Lu Ligan through Mr. Chiao and his trust company. The loan that Meng Ping is applying for will also be through this channel, and every time a loan passes through Mr. Chiao and his trust company, they want to make a profit from it. For them, Lu Ligan's 80 million loan is a high-quality business, and it is fat meat that has been put in the bowl. How can they give up a high-quality business for a business that has not yet started? Business principles. Mr. Lu, we won't mention the loan repayment, and we have no intention of you repaying the loan early. Mr. Yang and Meng Ping said, "I have a suggestion. I wonder if I can talk about it?" Meng Ping said, "Mr. Yang, tell me. If Mr. Zhang, whom we met when we had lunch together, can promise to guarantee this loan for you, we should have no problem here," Mr. Yang said. "Damn it, it's here." Lu Ligan cursed in his heart. This was why his heart skipped a beat when he saw Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang's expressions when they saw Zhang Chen at noon. He knew that they would make this request in the afternoon. It's true that a wise man will always make mistakes. He should have thought of it a long time ago and shouldn't have introduced them to them. Even a fool can see that it would be great if Zhang Chen acted as a guarantor. Leaving aside Zhang Chen's company and his clothing business, just a dynamic zone can be convincing. Not to mention the value of the market itself, the rent in the market alone is more than 40 million yuan per year. You must know that this rent is basically net income, the water and electricity in the market, the wages of market managers and security guards in the public stalls, the monthly management fee paid by each store here is more than enough. There is still a huge amount of parking fees and catering revenue in the market every day. Even a fool can see that it is a golden chicken that lays golden eggs, let alone professionals like Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang. It would be strange for them not to make this request at this time. And if Zhang Chen were sitting in this conference room, Lu Ligan knew that without even 5 seconds of hesitation, Zhang Chen would definitely say, "Okay, I'll guarantee it." This big-headed ghost. Then it is really difficult to recover. This is why Lu Ligan asked Li Yang and Su Jiaking to pull Zhang Chen out at noon and not come back, otherwise he would definitely appear in the conference room. Meng Ping shook his head and said to Mr. Yang, "Impossible. Mr. Zhang and I are just ordinary friends. We haven't reached the point where he would guarantee such a large sum of money for me. I won't even mention this request, and it would be in vain if I did. Mr. Lu and Mr. Qian agreed to give it to me. I'm grateful for the guarantee, that's all we can offer." Lu Ligan saw clearly disappointed expressions on the faces of Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang. Lu Ligan looked at his watch and said to Meng Ping, "It's dinner time. Let's stop here today. Mr. Chiao, Mr. Yang, and their bank also need time to discuss. Can we continue tomorrow morning?" After Lu Ligan finished speaking, he looked at Mr. Chiao, who said yes, he would come here first today. "Thank you to Dal Tin Soldier and RIRI Shushu for the reward. Thank you Mr. Zhang for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 826. Meng Ping, Mr. Chiao, and Mr. Yang had dinner at the Jinling Hotel until about 8 o'clock in the evening. During the meal, Su Jiaking called, and Meng Ping went to pick her up outside the box and came back to continue chatting. They chatted all over the place, except for business topics, not even remotely related topics. After eating, Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang said they wanted to go for a walk. Meng Ping and Lu Ligan sent them downstairs and to the door. Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang asked them to stay, saying that they were just strolling around. "We'll be back soon." Meng Ping and Lu Ligan knew that they had something to talk about and it was not convenient for them to hear, so they waved goodbye to them and walked back. The sofa in the lobby of Jinling Hotel was placed in the corner near the lobby and went to the elevator. "You'll see it on the way past." Meng Ping and Lu Ligan saw Qian Fang, Cao Ziahe, and Ye Yulan sitting there, so they walked over and sat down too. Qian Fang asked, "Gangzi, what do you think this will happen?" "Ye Yulan and I both feel that these two people are so yin and yang, and they are not happy at all. That is, if you want to take 400 million from someone's pocket, will they be happy?" Lu Ligan said. "But we have agreed to give them our lives and property, so what else can they worry about?" Qian Fang asked. "Then you have to think that your net worth and life are worth 400 million. If you want to borrow 2 million, they will definitely agree immediately," Lu Ligan said. "Qian Fang, I was about to talk to you. Why did I tell you at noon to stop talking nonsense? Why did you forget it again?" Meng Ping scolded. "I vouched for you as soon as you opened your mouth. Doesn't it feel good to say it?" Qian Fang chuckled. "Aren't I anxious? Don't say anything in a hurry. You are making an unnecessary sacrifice." "Do you understand?" Meng Ping scolded. "I forgot why Li Yang and I went out at that time. The two of us are going to do it on our own. We just don't want to be like Heiken. When you were unlucky, you were blamed for it, but I didn't expect you to get involved yourself. Next time you encounter this kind of thing, be calm and think through it. Do you understand?" Qian Fang said oh but was not convinced. She pointed at Lu Ligan and said, "Didn't he say that too? We made an agreement about the poll when we were in Hangzhou. As long as people named Xiao and Yang come, they will definitely ask for the poll's guarantee. The poll cannot escape, but this is also our biggest bottom line. Go to the poll, go to the poll. I guess you can do this. You are dying in vain, you come to die yourself. How can others find it too much?" Meng Ping said. Lu Ligan smiled and said, "I'm guarding and guarding, guarding against Zhang Chen. If that guy is here, he will definitely be the first one to block the bullet holes. He gets rid of him. I didn't expect there is a Robin Hood here. He is really the best in history. Talented people come out." Lu Qian Fang stuck out his tongue, shook his head, and made a face at Lu Ligan. "Do you think you can win this?" Ye Yulan asked. "Why do I feel a little hung up on it? Anyway, I feel that it's very tiring to talk to people in this bank. They always say one sentence and hide 3 sentences. It's not as refreshing as buying and selling land," Qian Fang said. "Landlord, buying and selling land in Heiken is not as easy as you. At that time, everyone was stupid. I thought about it later. I could get money even with a fake red line map. Who would confirm it? Is this picture true or false? It's not just that it was sold when it came out of this box and went to that box. By the time the last picture passed through several hands, I don't know who sold it to whom," Lu Ligan said. Ye Yulan nodded. "Don't say it, it's really possible. This can only show that at that time, even swindlers were stupid and had not yet evolved to do fake red line drawings," Lu Ligan said. "It's different when we get to the mainland. You know I'm in Hangzhou. How much effort did it take to get the first piece of land? Do you know what scammers I met who were selling off the plan properties in Hangzhou? Tell me quickly." Qian Fang, Ye Yulan and Cao Ziahe are all interested. Qian Fang said, "Tell me how you got the first piece of land." Ye Yulan said, "Tell me about that liar." "Which one do you want to listen to first?" Lu Ligan said. Qian Fang said, "Okay, let's talk about the liar first." Lu Ligan told them about the sale of off-the-plan properties in Hangcheng Foundry and how they messed up their scam. Everyone laughed after hearing this, and Cao Ziahe said, "Mr. Lu, you are doing harm to the people. It's also for myself. Otherwise, if scammers become rampant in this industry, the whole industry will be destroyed. Qianfang nodded in agreement. Let's talk about your land acquisition, Qianfang said. Lu Ligan told them about the Yiming food factory, and Meng Ping said it was very inspiring. Pol. Qianfang said, Zhangzi, I almost admire you. Lu Ligan was surprised and asked, Qianfang, you are so ignorant and fearless, how did you get that land? Cao Zia, he said, we are building a villa. That place is too far away from the landfill, so no one wants it. We went to the place to have a look and asked about it, and they started to pay attention to us. They called us every day to ask for help. Let's eat. Lu Ligan understood and asked Meng Ping, what about you? Is your place too far away from the landfill? I'm not from Nanjing. In Nanjing, how could I have so much energy in such a short period of time? The information was provided by Li Yang and the decision was made. Meng Ping pointed upward. Lu Ligan understood, this guy left still on the same old road in Haikan. Meng Ping said with emotion, Pol, as they say, you will get what you pay for. I have been in prison in Nanjing for more than a year, and now I feel that my time was not in vain. How do you say it? Lu Ligan asked. Qianfang said, didn't Lao Meng shoulder all the responsibilities alone in Wuxi? How many people were saved? Many of these people have already come up. After knowing that Lao Meng came out, they thought this guy was a good person, so they all I want to help Lao Meng. Without them, we wouldn't be able to win this place. Lu Lepol nodded. Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang came back from outside and passed by not far away. They saw them, but they did not stop. Instead, they waved and said hello, passed by, and took the elevator upstairs. Meng Ping, Lu Ligan, and the others continued to sit and chat. 10 minutes later, Mr. Chiao came down alone. He came over and said to Lu Ligan, there are no more cigarettes. Mr. Lu, please go out with me to buy a cigarette. I can't tell the real thing from the fake cigarette. Lu Ligan stood up and said yes, winked at Meng Ping, and walked over. The two people walked out of the Hanshong Road gate of Jinling Hotel. Many people gathered around and asked, do you want yuan, and do you have any US dollars? Mr. Chiao waved his hand and put one arm around Lu Ligan's shoulder. The two of them got rid of these people and walked along the sidewalk of Hanshong Road. Mr. Chiao looked back and then told Lu Ligan about Nanyang Bank. Mr. Yang can make the decision, please ask your friend to be patient. Lu Ligan said yes and understood in his heart that the two people were not monolithic. Lu Ligan thought for a while and figured it out clearly that Mr. Yang should not be Mr. Chiao's only source of funds, and Mr. Chiao really wanted to do the mortgage business of Meng Ping's building. After this building was completed, the market in Nanjing was opened. Ya Yulan said in the afternoon that it could be stated in the agreement with the customer that they are the only financial institution that can provide mortgage services in this building. It seems to be very tempting to Mr. Chiao. Sure enough, Mr. Chiao's next words proved Lu Ligan's judgment. Mr. Yang, I will continue to work here. It should be possible, but it won't work. Let your friend rest assured that I will also bring him Chaozhou people's money. Mr. Chiao thought for a while and said, by the way, Mr. Lu, you can ask your friend to find a way to let Mr. Yang know that they are also in contact with the Chaozhou gang in Hong Kong. Okay, I understand, thank you, Mr. Chiao. No thanks, everyone is here to make this happen. I am very optimistic about your friend's project. In fact, Mr. Yang is also very optimistic about it. We went there again earlier. Mr. Chiao patted Lu Ligan on the shoulder twice, and Lu Ligan understood. The two of them walked back and walked into the gate of Hanshong Road. When they reached the door of the hotel, Mr. Chiao yelled, "Ah!" What's wrong? Lu Ligan asked. I told Mr. Yang to come down and buy cigarettes. Mr. Chiao turned around and was about to go to the outside door. Lu Ligan quickly said, yes, yes, there are some inside, no need to buy them. The two of them walked towards the lobby. Lu Ligan asked Mr. Chiao, are you drawing Sanwuo, Jianpai, or Hilton? Joe always said Hilton. Mr. Chiao stood there while Lu Ligan walked over and said to Mengping, Hilton. Mengping pulled out 2 Hiltons from a large bag of dozens of cigarettes and handed them to Lu Ligan. This was Qian Fang, Ya Yulan and Cao Ziahe. While they were out, they ran to the gate to collect them. Yes, all foreign brands of cigarettes are available. No wonder when they came back and passed the gate, no one came to ask do you want Wian, these people must have gone to restock. Lu Ligan walked back and handed 2 cigarettes to Mr. Chiao. Mr. Chiao took one, waved it in his hand, and left. Lu Ligan came back with another carton of cigarettes and told Mengping, Lao Meng, basically take it, no problem. Ya Yulan didn't understand. She looked at the cigarette in Lu Ligan's hand and asked, why does he only have one? Mengping said, this is the old turtle. 2 of them are gifts from others, and one seems to be bought by me. Ya Yulan suddenly understood, and everyone else laughed. Let's go find Zhang Chen and have supper, Mengping said, if we don't go, Su Jiaking and Li Yang may not be able to stand it anymore. Zhang Chen was in the room with Li Yang and Su Jiaking. Zhang Chen said, then I have to go to Jinling Hotel to get something, right? No, Lao Meng and the others will bring it to you later, Su Jiaking said. Then I am under house arrest by you, Zhang Chen asked. Su Jiaking smiled and said, almost the same. Li Yang was laughing randomly on the side. Zhang Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He said, you have worked so hard, you have to tell me why, right? To put you under house arrest here, Su Jiaking said. That's house arrest. There must be a reason, right? There is a reason. Let Zhuangzi and Lao Meng tell you the reason later. Holy shit, the Pole was also involved in this. Of course, Su Jiaking smiled, he is the mastermind. I'll go, no, I have to call him. Zhang Chen took out his mobile phone and was about to call it when the doorbell rang. Li Yang walked over and opened the door. Lu Ligan, Mengping, and Qian Fang walked in from the door. Thank you to the 10,000 Years White Vote Party for the reward. Thank you for your monthly ticket for sweet dreams to keep people sleeping. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening, everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 827. They went to a hotel on Hungui Road for a late-night snack. The frog hotpot, stinky tofu, and large intestine, and stinky mandarin fish here were delicious. After sitting down, Lu Ligan and Mengping told Zhang Chen the reason why they wanted to send him away today. Zhang Chen said that the guarantee was enough, so what's the big deal? Lu Ligan smiled and said to the others, if you see it, I will say that this is the first one who can block the hole of the gun. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said, you are willing to guarantee, and people are also targeting you, but do you know that it is not necessary at all? Why? Why do they want me to guarantee it if it's not necessary? Zhang Chen was puzzled. All financial institutions are like this. They hope that their risks will not only be reduced to zero, but preferably negative. Don't talk about you, Zhang Chen. Even if ICBC and China Construction Bank want to guarantee Lao Meng at the same time, others will not say, no, 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 as long as you have ICBC, CCB doesn't need it, he still wants them all. You Zhang Chen, even if there are 10, he will want it. This is their risk control, but is it humming possible? If you want to earn such a high interest rate spread, you must know that the bank's money does not belong to the bank itself, but to how much interest does he pay to depositors. He is making money with other people's money. You want to make money, but you don't want to take a little risk. Is that possible? As far as Lao Meng's money is concerned, people are optimistic about this project, and the guarantee measures are sufficient. It can be done without you, Zhang Chen. You said you came in now, is it necessary? Zhang Chen thought about it, and Lu Ligan's words made sense. Since he could do it with or without himself, it seemed that his guarantee was indeed redundant. Then just tell me clearly and ask me not to attend the meeting. Why did you put me in that damn place to see the dark Suanwu Lake? Zhang Chen cursed, while Su Jiaking and Li Yang were laughing. Then if Mr. Chiao or Mr. Yang meet you in the hotel, they are all old turtles and have good conversational skills. They will definitely tell you, Mr. Zhang, your company is good. We have visited it. If I ask you again about your relationship with Lao Meng, what would you say? You must say they are brothers, right? Then they will look very embarrassed and tell you that your friend's project is good and the future prospects are promising. However, the amount is too large. When we submit the report, it will be difficult to get approval. Mr. Zhang, if you can guarantee your friend, there will definitely be no problem with this loan. Come on, tell me, what will you say at this time? Lu Ligan asked, and Zhang Chen said without hesitation, I'm sure there is no problem. What problems will there be in Lao Meng's project? Did you see that? You are so needless and you have put yourself at the gunpoint again. This is why I can't let you show up at the Jinling Hotel, and I can't let them have the opportunity to say these things to you. Lu Ligan said, they know risk control, and we also need to know risk control. What's the risk? Zhang Chen wondered. Lao Meng's project. There are still risks, Zhang Chen. Thank you for your trust in me. The Pole is right. We can avoid it, but we still have to find ways to avoid it. Meng Ping looked at Zhang Chen and continued. In this world, as long as we are doing projects, it is impossible to be without risks. What risks do our projects in Haikan, Jinghai International Financial Center in Pangzi, and Xinbu Island projects seem to have? They are all profitable, but didn't they all die inside in the end? Since the bank wants to make this money, it must bear this risk, and we also bear our risks, but we cannot say that our responsibilities will be expanded indefinitely. The result of the expansion is that they have no risk at all, and we bear all the risks. This is also unreasonable from the perspective of fair transactions. Zhang Chen nodded and Lu Ligan said. At the meeting today, I was asked to vouch for you, but Lao Meng blocked me. Lao Meng has already set the tone. He said that he and you are just ordinary friends, not enough for you to vouch for him. Zhang Chen, do you understand, no matter it is in Nanjing or Hangzhou, if you meet them, you must adopt this tone, otherwise you will betray Lao Meng. When Lu Ligan was talking, Qianfang and the others were laughing. Lu Ligan looked at Qianfang and said to Zhang Chen, one of them has already died, so don't be the second one. Oh, it's me again, won't you let me go? Is it okay if I don't go tomorrow? Qianfang shouted. Meng Ping glared at her, you think it's okay if you don't go? If you don't go, people will remember you. That idiot, where is that idiot? Hurry up and ask her to sign a guarantee. Qianfang pursed her lips and shook her head. Ya Yulan asked, can you tell them that you agreed yesterday, but after thinking about it today, or after discussing it in the company, you decided not to guarantee it? Genius. What a genius, Lu Ligan shouted, what's the reason? Yesterday it was said that it was possible, but today it's said that it's not possible. What's the reason why it's not allowed? Just say, just say. Ya Yulan said carefully, just say there are risks. What a genius idea, Lu Ligan sneered, that person suffocated Lao Meng to death with just one sentence. Mr. Meng, even your friends have to withdraw their guarantees. Doesn't that mean that your project has what potential risks are we not aware of? I'm sorry, Mr. Meng, we can't do this business either. You really messed up this matter. Ya Yulan stuck out her tongue and stopped talking. Do you think a legal person is so easy to be a legal person that you can just say a few words? What a legal person says represents your company. Especially in such a formal occasion, it is difficult to speak. Once you open your mouth, the words will come out. I can't take it back. Tomorrow will be a sea of swords and fire. Qianfang must also sign this, otherwise, there will be no discussion on this matter. Lu Ligan said this to Qianfang and Zhang Chen. When he said this, Lu Ligan suddenly felt that he looked like the same person tonight, that is, Lao Xia, Mr. Xia. He thinking back on it, Lao Xia taught him this sentence by sentence. The meeting on the next day was still held in the original conference room. Mr. Yang continued to persuade Meng Ping to increase the guarantee measures. Meng Ping always emphasized that this was the only thing he could provide. Meng Ping, Mr. Yang, and Mr. Chiao said, "It's not that I can't find a friend to give me a guarantee. If I really want to look for it, I can still find it, even a large-scale enterprise. But Mr. Yang, do you know that when you asked me to increase the guarantee, your original intention was to reduce the guarantee risk, but it may actually increase the risk. I don't quite understand this. Mr. Meng, can you explain it?" Mr. Yang said. Meng Ping said, "Mr. Chiao should be very familiar with the domestic situation. Mr. Yang has been in China for such a long time. I think he should also be familiar with the domestic situation. It is normal for businesses to help each other, but this kind of help, it's all about reciprocity. If you come and go but don't go back, not only is it disrespectful, but you won't be able to get along in the circle of friends. If Mr. Yang must ask me to find another company to provide guarantee, I can go find it and ensure that this company can pass your guarantee qualification review, and the legal person can also sign and agree to the guarantee, but in this way, my matter is resolved. Yes, but the favor is also owed. He will also ask me to guarantee him next time. I have to do it. I can't make sense if I don't do it, right? I can properly manage and use your money and ensure that this project proceeds smoothly, but to be honest, I cannot guarantee that his operation will not be risky. If his operation is risky, I have given him a guarantee. Then will his risk become my risk? Will my risk soon become? Mr. Meng is right. We should not increase this kind of guarantee." Before Meng Ping finished speaking, Mr. Chiao waved his hand to stop him. He said, "We understand Mr. Liu's company, so Mr. Liu's we can rest assured of the guarantee. As for other companies that we don't know about and still need Mr. Meng to provide mutual guarantees, I think it's better to forget it." Mr. Chiao looked at Meng Ping and said, "By the way, Mr. Meng, we will also add this clause to our agreement, that is, you cannot provide any form of guarantee to any other company without our permission. This clause is yours. Do you agree to the increase?" Meng Ping nodded, "I agree. As a guarantee company, Mr. Liu, do you agree that Mr. Meng's company will not provide similar counter guarantee for you in the future?" Mr. Chiao asked Lu Ligan, and Lu Ligan said yes. "Where's Mr. Qian?" "Okay." Qianfang nodded. "Mr. Meng, adding this clause to the agreement will not only reduce our risks, but also reduce your pressure." Mr. Chiao smiled. "Reducing my pressure?" Meng Ping was confused. "Yes, have you ever thought about it? In the future, there will definitely be various relationships and various channels. Some companies will ask you to provide guarantees for them. At this time, you only need to show them our agreement to show that you and the financial institution have this as agreed. You can't help even if you want to, so do you have to understand even if others don't understand?" Yes, Mr. Chiao is right, I really didn't expect this," Meng Ping said with a smile. Mr. Chiao turned his head and discussed something with Mr. Yang quietly in Cantonese. The people sitting opposite them all turned their heads away intentionally and did not pay attention to them, but Lu Ligan saw from the corner of his eye that Mr. Yang seemed to "What are you still insisting on?" Mr. Chiao's face looked a little unhappy. Someone knocked on the door, and then Cao Ziahe walked in. People in the conference room, including Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang, stopped and looked at her. Cao Ziahe walked over. Meng Ping frowned slightly and asked her, What's the matter? Cao Zia, he said softly, Mr. Meng, those Chaozhou people from Hong Kong have arrived. Cao Zia, he said softly, but the conference room was too small, everyone was too close, and it was very quiet at this moment. Everyone heard her words, and Lu Ligan saw Mr. Yang's eyebrows jump. Meng Ping looked at his watch, leaned over, and whispered to Qian Fang, please help me go down and make arrangements. Just tell me that I'm on my way from Wuxi and won't arrive until the afternoon. Qian Fang said yes, stood up, and walked out with Cao Zia. Not long after they walked out, Mr. Yang pondered for a moment and said to Mr. Chiao, let's go out for a while. The two people stood up, nodded to Meng Ping, and walked out. The three people in the conference room looked at each other and wanted to laugh, but they tried hard to hold it back. 10 minutes later, Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang walked in. Mr. Chiao and Meng Ping said, Mr. Meng, Mr. Yang just reported to their bank. Mr. Yang helped Mr. Meng with this project and said a lot of good things. Their bank has agreed to issue this 3-year development loan to you through our company. We will accept it. Come down and discuss the specific details. Thank you to the 10,000 Years White Vote Party, Baby Tin Soldier, third from top to bottom, and on the shore 131 for your rewards. Thank you for your monthly pass to Mu Yangxiang, Feng Qing Yang, Bustling Farce, Yuengzi, Not Impossible World. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 828. Zhang Chen and the others stayed in Nanjing for another night. Mr. Chiao signed a loan agreement with Meng Ping and a guarantee agreement with Qian Fang. The group set out for Hangzhou the next afternoon to go to Lu Ligan's company in Hangzhou. Sign the guarantee agreement. After Lu Ligan signs the guarantee agreement, the whole process is over. Mr. Chiao and his trust company will also sign a directional loan agreement with Nanyang Bank. Then the money from Nanyang Bank will enter Mr. Chiao and his trust company, and then from the trust company to Meng Ping's company. Zhang Chen still hasn't met Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang. He continues to stay at the Suanwu Lake Hotel. Lu Ligan, Li Yang, and Su Jiaking said to be optimistic about him. This person will suddenly short-circuit his brain and appear in unexpected places at unexpected times. Place, making unexpected moves? The next day, Li Yang and Su Jiaking were still on guard and took him to the Confucius Temple. In the evening, Li Yang really took Zhang Chen to a bathhouse in Wei Lane, where he found a Yangzhou master he was familiar with and had a good massage on his back. After Meng Ping and Lu Ligan took Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang to drive Lu Ligan's Hutuban and set off from the Jinling Hotel, Li Yang and Su Jiaking were ready to drive Meng Ping's Cadillac from the Suanwu Lake Hotel. Set off. When they arrived at Zhang Chen's room, Su Jiaking pointed to the Suanwu Lake outside the glass and said to Zhang Chen, Mr. Zhang, isn't it dark now? Isn't it beautiful? Zhang Chen said yes, it's very beautiful. I almost vomited just looking at it all day long. What's the difference between this and looking at a postcard? Okay, let's go. Now I'll take you to see the flowing scenery, Su Jiaking said. Where are you going again? Zhang Chen asked. Go back to Hangzhou. Why, you don't want to go back? Go back. Zhang Chen quickly got up, packed his things, and they set out on the road. By the time Zhang Chen returned to Hangzhou from Nanjing, a large number of workers in the factory had begun to return, and the import and export of goods in the dynamic zone below had also begun to return to normal. Only Xiao Zhao had not returned to Hangzhou. She first went to Shanghai, and then from Shanghai to Beijing. When she arrived in Beijing, Xiao Li held her back and refused to let her go, insisting that she stay for 2 more days. Xiao Zhao called Zhang Chen and told him that Xiao Li was crying, she must be homesick, she hasn't been home for 2 consecutive years. Zhang Chen said, then you should stay with her more. By the way, tell her that if she can't go home, Her parents can go to Beijing to see her and our company will reimburse the expenses. Xiao Zhao said yes, I told her. Zhang Chen went to the hospital to see Lao Tan. Lao Tan was very happy to see Zhang Chen and told him that this idiot seemed to have grown up a lot after a year. Zhang Chen smiled and said, it's because life has stabilized and his heart has stabilized as well. Yes and no, Lao Tan said with a smile. Why are you laughing? Zhang Chen was surprised. Lao Tan and Zhang Chen said, he is in love. Ah, Zhang Chen was surprised and asked quickly, where is the girl from? They are fellow villagers. Two people raised by force. Old Tan laughed, yes, I work as a salesperson in a store in the market downstairs. The second-rate guy took her to the hospital to see me. She's pretty nice. No wonder, I said this idiot was in the company, but he disappeared in the blink of an eye. It turned out that he ran downstairs. That's right, just pretend you don't know. He can't tell you with that face. What's so embarrassing about falling in love? Zhang Chen was surprised. This person is not always like this. Before he is in love, he talks nonsense. But when he is really in love, he only worries about gains and losses all day long, and he is no longer so heartless, Lao Tan said. Zhang Chen thought about it, this is really the case, especially when it comes to second-rate goods. It was only a few days ago that he told him about this matter, and he still looked impatient. Now, how could he have the nerve to turn this corner? Zhang Chen decided in his heart that when Xiao Zhao comes back, he will let Xiao Zhao talk to Huo. They can treat the girl to a meal. We all know each other and let the girl know that if there is any conflict between the two of them, they can come to Xiao Zhao. They can also mediate and cannot let the idiots have their own way. Zhang Chen told Lao Tan his thoughts, and Lao Tan also agreed. He said that the main thing was to let the woman know that the second-rate guy in Hangzhou also has parents who make decisions for him, so that she can feel more at ease. Zhang Chen nodded. Lu Ligan accompanied Meng Ping, Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang to see his Dehuayuan project. Mr. Chiao and Lu Ligan said that I would also be responsible for the mortgage of this project. Lu Ligan said yes and thought, I don't have to worry about contacting him anymore. Do it exclusively for me too, Mr. Chiao said. Lu Ligan said yes and thought to himself, you are the only family I have. After all the procedures were completed, Mr. Chiao and his company's salesmen also came over from Shenzhen to continue the business of splendid Jiangnan. However, Mr. Chiao and Mr. Yang had to return to Shenzhen to implement the contract between them. Lu Ligan and Meng Ping went to the airport to see them off, and when he came back, he went to Zhang Chen's office. As soon as he entered the office, Lu Ligan shouted to Zhang Chen, you are liberated and can surface. Meng Ping laughed. Is everything okay? Zhang Chen asked Meng Ping. Okay, let's wait until the funds are in place, Meng Ping said. Meng Ping sat there, beating his thighs rhythmically with both hands, unable to conceal his inner excitement, and told them that when Mr. Chiao and his friends get their funds in place, I will start chasing you two head-on. I'll be careful. Zhang Chen smiled and said, don't worry, you will come from behind. No matter how hard we work, we will still work in Hangzhou. Once your building is completed, it will cause a sensation all over the country. That's right, Son of the East will come to interview you when the time comes, Lu Ligan said. Impossible, Meng Ping shook his head with regret, no one they can interview will interview me. Zhang Chen asked, why? Don't forget that I am a stained person. I will probably have to keep my tail between my legs for the rest of my life, Meng Ping said, while Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan were silent. Yes, even Tan Shuhen will be disqualified from participating in the CCTV Young Singer Grand Prix, let alone someone like Meng Ping who has actually been in prison. Zhang Chen's big brother rang, and Zhang Chen picked up. It was Harada Shino. As soon as the call came through, Harada Shino said Happy New Year to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen quickly said Happy New Year, Shino, you didn't go back to Japan? Harada Shino said he didn't reply. A film crew from the company came to shoot the Chinese New Year. I accompanied them to Fujian and Anhui. Then you have had a Chinese New Year that is both beautiful and delicious, Zhang Chen said with a smile. Yes, it's very interesting, Harada Shino also smiled. Zhang Chen, do you have time to come to my place now? I have something to tell you. Zhang Chen said yes, I will come right away. Putting down the phone, Lu Ligan asked, that Japanese friend? Zhang Chen said yes, he asked me to come over for a while. You stay here with Lao Meng and wait for me to come back and have dinner together. No dinner, Meng Ping said, I want to capture the lovers from the mountains and rivers of West Lake and return to Nanjing. We will eat on the way. Why are you in such a hurry? Zhang Chen asked. There is no need to rush. I will go back immediately to complete the preliminary procedures as soon as possible. I also need to contact the drilling company first. Advanced drilling must go out first. As soon as the funds arrive, the large forces will enter the site. We must not hurry up. The funds will be lost, cost pressure is huge. Meng Ping said, and Zhang Chen nodded. The annual interest rate of Meng Ping's loan has not been lowered. It is calculated based on the benchmark interest rate of 13.86% announced by the People's Bank of China. The daily interest of more than 150,000 yuan is really not enough without hard work. Let's go, we'll leave when the young lovers arrive, Lu Lepol waved to Zhang Chen. When Zhang Chen arrived at the international building, Harada Shino looked a little fatter than before. Zhang Chen smiled and said, it seems that you are doing well in this Chinese New Year. Harada Shino laughed, he said yes, everything tasted delicious, I couldn't help it, everywhere we went, the people there were very welcoming. Harada Shino asked Zhang Chen to sit down. After Zhang Chen sat down, Harada Shino told him that the post-production of the movie was almost completed. The purpose of calling Zhang Chen here today was to name the costume designer in the credits. Who to write? Harada Shino said, the director didn't confirm it either, so let me ask you, because it turns out that every time, you and Miss He come together, and the director is not sure whether Miss He is your assistant or whether she should be a co-signer. Collaborator. She is the only one doing the costume design this time. I am mostly on the side, helping with ideas, or more like the role of an instructor in college when students complete their graduation thesis. For costume design, just write about her alone, Zhang Chen said. Harada Shino looked at Zhang Chen and continued, Zhang Chen, please listen to what I have to say first. When this movie was screened internally in our company, everyone responded very well. Our company has decided to recommend it to participate in the October this year of the Kyoto Film Festival. Our company also has a high evaluation of the costume design in the film, and we have decided to recommend it to participate in the selection of the best costume design unit of the Kyoto Film Festival. Moreover, our internal evaluation shows that the possibility of winning is very high. Zhang Chen, if he wins, do you know what that means? What does it mean? Zhang Chen asked. It means that this will be the first time for you Chinese to win the Costume Design Award at a Japanese film festival. The Kyoto Film Festival is a film festival with world influence, and the winners will receive widespread attention. I understand, Zhang Chen nodded, but this doesn't change the fact that she is the main designer of this costume. I only play a supporting role. There is no need to even sign my name. When I gave this script to you, I asked you to design it. Yes, I was quite busy during that time, and her design draft came out first. After it came out, I thought there was no problem. Even if I did it myself, I wouldn't be better than her, so I put myself in from a critic's point of view. She only makes suggestions and modifications, and she is the main designer, including the work of organizing workers to make clothes, which she also does. I understand, Shino. Harada nodded, so, are you sure? Sure. Okay, then I will tell the director your opinion. Can you write Miss He's name to me? I will fax it back. Zhang Chen said yes. Harada Shino took the paper and brush, and Zhang Chen wrote the words He Hung Mei on the paper. When Zhang Chen said goodbye to Harada Shino held his hand and said to him, Zhang Chen, as a master, you are a very good master, and as a teacher, you are also a very qualified teacher. Of course, as a friend, you are also a very good friend. I am very happy to meet you. Thank you, Shino. I am also very happy to meet you. You are a friend who met me when I was in the most difficult time and encouraged me. In Chinese, we are friends in need. Zhang Chen and Harada Shino said. Thank you for the reward for reading every day. Thank you to Water and Youth, CAI, Daypen, Amli Yuliu, Wonderful on the Road, Zhengguang Ion Exchange Resin Ping, Wooden Man, Book Friends 150620024015869, Book Friends 201806210933224006 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 829. Not long after Zhang Chen returned to the office, He Hung Mei walked in. When she saw Zhang Chen, she shouted excitedly, You're back, great. Master, you are not here, and neither is Sister Xiaoxiao. Do you know how pitiful I am? He Hung Mei said with a sad face. Can you still be pitiful? How can you be pitiful? There was no place to eat dinner, so I went to my grandmother's house in Baibei and had a work meal at Sister Shahen's place. That's not very good. It's only been 2 days. Don't you ask me what I ate yesterday. What did you eat? I went down to the cafeteria to get some food. This is not normal. I often go down there to get food. Can this be the same? What's different is that I also cooked big pot dishes and didn't order stir fries, Zhang Chen said. Go, the cafeteria master gives you a big spoonful and wants to add more, and he stops only when you say enough is enough. Zhang Chen thought about it, it was really like this. Let me go, how much do you know? It's just such a small amount of food. Boss, a big spoonful of your food is all exploited from us. Zhang Chen looked at her and asked, Do you want me to treat you to dinner? You talk so much. He Hung Mei giggled, Yingming, master is master after all. Okay, I originally wanted to have dinner with Meng Ping and the others, but he left. Tell me what you want to eat, and I'll treat you to it. Really? Can I eat lamb chops? Yes, but you have to ask Old Tang to eat the mutton chops. Only with him can you increase your appetite, Zhang Chen said with a smile. Okay, I'll hit him. He Hung Mei shouted, and then she beat Old Tang's eldest brother. After the beating, she told Zhang Chen that it was over, and Old Tang went to Ningbo. Why is he going to Ningbo? Classmate's wedding. Okay, let's go, I'm hungry too. Zhang Chen stood up as he said that. The two of them were eating mutton chops. Zhang Chen originally wanted to tell He Hung Mei about going to Harada Shino's place in the afternoon, but after thinking about it, he didn't. He thought to himself, it would be better to wait until the movie comes out or when he wins an award, so as not to know. The movie was not introduced, so I couldn't see my name appear on the screen, so my anticipation was in vain. Zhang Chen didn't say anything. While the two were eating, they heard a person shouting, Okay, I caught it, let's have a couple's meal here. Looking back, he saw Lu Ligan walking over with Wen Wen and Qian. He Hung Mei blushed. Zhang Chen picked up a sheep bone and smashed it over, cursing, What nonsense are you talking about? Lu Ligan came over, sat down on the edge, and smiled, Why are you nervous? I said the meal was a couple's meal, and I didn't say you were a couple. Hongmei's face turned redder. She picked up a bunch of lamb kidneys, slapped Lu Ligan on the mouth, and cursed, "Take it, shut up." Lu Li bit the stick in one bite, took the steel pick in his hand, and shouted, thank you, you are so considerate, and you even put it in your mouth." Wen Wen and Qian also chose seats and sat down on the edge, giggling. "Why are you here?" Zhang Chen asked. "After sending Meng Ping and the others away, I returned to the company. These two men said they wanted to eat mutton chops, so they came over," Lu Ligan said. "What day is it today? Do you women have a grudge against sheep?" Zhang Chen asked Wen Wen and Qian. She also said she wanted to eat lamb chops. "Well, it seems that today is an unlucky day for sheep. If sheep could read the calendar, they would not dare to go out today," Lu Ligan said, and the three women laughed. Hongmei and Lu Ligan said, "Hey, I was originally going to give my master a beating, but you came here, just in time. This meal." I know, it's included in the 100 meals." Lu Li finished eating the lamb kidneys and said, "Come on, give me another bunch." Hongmei gave him another bunch. Lu Li took it and asked Hongmei, "Is it true that you haven't finished the 100 meals yet? Why do I feel like I've overeaten?" "Cheapskate, there are still 27 meals." Real. Lu Ligan said to Wen Wen and Qian, "You two, keep track of the accounts for me. After today's meal, there are still 26. Don't let your men be cheated by other women outside." "Get out," Wen Wen Qian cursed together, and Hongmei laughed. After eating the mutton chops, Wen Wen asked to go see a movie, and Lu Ligan asked, "What was good about the movie?" "Then what did you say you were going to do?" Wen Wen asked. "Go to the bar," Hongmei said. "Go away, I just finished drinking. I went to some bar. I'm full." "Let's go exercise," Lu Ligan said. "Then go bowling," Hongmei proposed. This proposal was unanimously agreed by everyone. They got up and went to the bowling alley. At that time, bowling alleys had just entered Hangzhou. They were all invested by Taiwanese and the business was very good. They went to the ones on Jinjiang Road and Kaiyudao Road. Both bowling alleys have no lanes, so even if you wait, you don't know how long it will take. The five people left angrily. Zhang Chen said, "If that doesn't work, go upstairs to play table tennis with us." Hongmei shouted, "By the way, there is a bowling alley in the provincial gymnasium, let's go there and have a look." Zhang Chenkai asked, "There is a bowling alley in the provincial gymnasium? It's right next door to me and I didn't even know it." Hongmei said yes. "It was just built not long ago, but the scale is smaller. Let's go, listen to the Sichuan girl. If not, the 26 meals will be invalid," Lu Ligan shouted. "If so, double it," Hongmei asked. Lu Ligan was stunned for a moment, then he said yes. The group of people arrived at the provincial gymnasium, and it turned out that there was actually a bowling alley here. As Hongmei said, it was newly built and not large in scale. It only had 4 lanes. What made them excited was that when they arrived, one lane was still empty. Hongmei looked at Lu Ligan, smiled and nodded, and Lu Ligan scolded, "Why are you so proud? I owe you 52 meals." Lu Ligan sighed, "I can't help it. As soon as I meet the Sichuan girl, I will abandon my armor." Hongmei smiled proudly. Wen Wen looked at him and said, "Did you lose on purpose?" In the bowling alley, there are 3 other lanes, one is played by a pair of lovers who speak softly, and the other is played by 2 men who are not convinced by each other and don't talk much. They just throw the ball round after round. The man who made a good shot also turned around before clenching his fist and pumping it in front of his chest to cheer himself up. There was another one, obviously they were business guests. The 4 of them were playing and chatting about something. They were playing and playing in no particular order. When someone remembered, they went to throw a ball. The ball was still rolling on the fairway. But the person has returned to the conversation and does not mind the outcome at all. It seems that playing bowling is secondary and chatting is the most important. There were only Lu Lipol and Zhang Chen on this fairway. 3 women plus 1 Lu Lipol. They all had loud voices, shouted and were very noisy. They soon became the center of the stadium, and everyone else keep looking in their direction. Fortunately, their fairway is the one closest to the stadium. Next to them are the 2 men. Their noisy atmosphere just relieves the tense atmosphere between the 2 of them. They all breathe a sigh of relief. Next is the pair of lovers. They are immersed in their own world, and it is difficult for the outside world to disturb them. On the contrary, the noise here has become a topic for them to joke and tease, and it has become the background of their world. And the 4 people who were most concerned about their noise were on the fairway closest to the outside, so their impact should not be that big. Out of the corner of Zhang Chen's eye, he saw a person wearing a staff uniform walking over. Zhang Chen thought she was coming to stop them and ask them to speak softer. Unexpectedly, the person walked about 10 meters away from them and stopped. Instead of continuing to walk over, he stood there and looked at them. Zhang Chen was surprised, looked up at her, was stunned for a moment, and shouted, "Zhou Yaqian." Standing there was Zhou Yaqian, the cashier of Zinc and Decoration Co., Limited, who used to be under the Municipal Planning Bureau. Zhou Yaqian was very happy to see Zhang Chen recognize her. She walked over and said, "Zhang Chen, I look a lot like you, but I'm afraid you won't recognize me and will be embarrassed to come over." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "What's so embarrassing about this? It's normal to admit the wrong person." Lu Ligan and He Hongmei stopped and looked at them. After hearing what Zhang Chen said, they knew that Zhang Chen had met an old acquaintance, so he ignored them and continued to play with himself. Originally, after Wen Wen, it was Zhang Chen, and then it was Lu Ligan's turn. After Wen Wen finished casting, He Hongmei looked at Zhang Chen, chuckled, and whispered to Lu Ligan, come on, jump him in the past." Lu Ligan was overjoyed. Zhou Yaqian and Zhang Chen said, "I won't mistake you because I'm afraid you don't know me. You are a big shot now. I have seen you in the newspaper several times. By the way, you are in the dynamic zone next door, and in Yan'an the half-acre of land on the road belongs to you, right?" Zhang Chen nodded. "That's great. You may not know that I applied for a job at your dynamic zone but was not accepted," Zhou Yaqian said. "Then why don't you just come to me?" "I'm sorry. After all, we have only been colleagues for such a short time, and several years have passed. It would be so embarrassing if you didn't recognize me." "How is that possible?" Zhang Chen said. "In that company, you were the only person who helped me. How could I forget?" Zhou Yaqian nodded and said with a smile, "You even remembered my name just now. I'm very happy, really. You come." Zhou Yaqian turned around and told Zhang Chen, but Zhang Chen didn't respond. There, Lu Lipol's ball just rolled into the ditch next to the fairway. Lu Lipol yelled, saying that when he was about to throw the ball, Wen Wen kicked his butt. No matter what, he was asking for another shot. Once he voted, He Hongmei, Wen Wen, and Qian shouted in opposition, and their voices were so loud that Zhang Chen didn't hear what Zhou Yaqian was saying clearly. The 2 people naturally moved a few steps to the side, leaving the group of noisy people. "Your friends are so interesting," Zhou Yaqian smiled. "Will it be noisy?" Zhang Chen asked. "It doesn't matter," Zhou Yaqian said, "there are all kinds of people here. Besides, bowling is a non-brainer. What does it matter if it's noisy?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "That's good. Come here, I'll take you to meet someone." Zhou Yaqian said it again, and Zhang Chen heard it clearly this time. Zhang Chen turned around and called to Lu Ligan, "Gangzi, let me go over there." Lu Ligan waved his hand, Go, there are too many people, and it took a long time for our turn." Zhang Chen was too lazy to argue with him and followed Zhou Yaqian to an office behind the service desk. Zhang Chen walked in and saw a recliner inside. A person was lying on the recliner with a blanket covering his body. In order to shield his face from the light, he also covered his face with a blanket. Holding a newspaper, Zhou Yaqian walked up to the man and called softly, "Boss." The man moved his body, raised his hand, and took the newspaper off his face. His eyes widened when he saw Zhang Chen standing there. He and Zhang Chen were both stunned for a moment, and Zhang Chen shouted, "Boss Liu." The man who sat up from the recliner also shouted, "Little brother." It turned out that this man was Liu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 830. Liu Bang, the founder of the Han dynasty, won the lawsuit against Zinc and Decoration Co., Limited without any surprise. Liu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, won the lawsuit and gained face, but he did not win any dignity. He did not receive any compensation money, and even the court did not know who to find to enforce the law. Zinc and Decoration Co., Limited is originally a different company. Its business comes from the Design Research Institute, and most of its employees also come from the Design Research Institute. But legally, it has nothing to do with the Design Research Institute. It can't be related. The central government has been demanding that similar companies be liquidated. Public institutions like the Design Institute want to become its shareholders, and even the industrial and commercial enterprises will not pass it. It was created by some people from the Design Institute who took advantage of their rights and took advantage of the itch. At the same time as the court trial, there was an organizational investigation by superiors into the Planning Bureau and the Design Institute. The result of the investigation was that Lao Jiafei was dismissed from his post, and a vice president of the Design Institute was also dismissed. Zinc and Decoration, the decoration company, was suddenly dissolved. Those who are employed by the Design Institute go back to work at the Design Institute. Those like Zhou Yaqian and others who are not employed go home on their own. From a legal point of view, Zinc and Decoration Co., Limited is an independent legal entity. From a formal point of view, it is even a private enterprise. In order to circumvent the above policy, the company's shareholders are several retirees from the Design Institute. The legal person is a long-retired vice president of the Design Institute. He receives a salary every month but never comes to the company for a day worked. The most troublesome thing is that the vice president passed away last year while the lawsuit was still going on. When the lawsuit was over, not only the company was gone, but also the legal person was gone. The court's executive bureau didn't know who should how to implement it and who to find to implement it. The company that was automatically dissolved did not have a penny in its account after paying its employees' wages. Its business premises were still rented, and it had not paid a penny in rent to the Design Institute for several years. It is still like this. He owed the Design Institute money and had no other property to enforce it. Although the judges of the Enforcement Bureau sympathized with Liu Bang, the founder of Han Dynasty, they could only smile bitterly. You can't go to the Design Institute, let alone the Planning Bureau. Although judging from the organization's investigation and conclusions, these two units are vaguely related to this company, but legally speaking, they are not. If there is no relationship, there is no relationship. The court's enforcement must be based on the law. As for the responsibility of leadership, Lao Jiafei and the dismissed vice president have already shouldered the responsibility, and others are afraid to avoid it. Liu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, who won the lawsuit, felt that in his case, with the dismissal of Lao Jifeo and the vice president, and with the final word of the lawsuit, he had won a great victory, and justice had finally been served. High-profile cases quickly disappeared from the center of public opinion. As for whether he got the money, that is another matter. No one cares about it anymore. How can justice be equated with money? Although Liu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, believed that money was more important than justice, that is another story. The air raid shelter at the foot of Baokou Mountain finally failed to pay the rent because of Liu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty. After more than 1 month, the lease agreement automatically expired. The dream of Liu Bang, the founder of the Han dynasty, sank to the bottom of the West Lake together with the secret seller KTV. But Liu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, still believed that his opportunities and future lay in the mainland, and he continued to look for opportunities. At this time, bowling was rapidly fading overseas, and a large number of bowling alleys were closed due to lack of customers. Some people looked at so many abandoned bowling equipment and lanes and felt it was a pity. They suddenly thought of finding a new continent for them to try. This reminded them of mainland China, which is trying to integrate with the world. They put the abandoned bowling equipment and lanes into, bought it at a very low price and moved it to the mainland. Unexpectedly, it became an unexpected success. The people who do this are Taiwanese. The Taiwanese people have a very keen sense of smell. They are the ones who introduced instant noodles to the mainland. They are the ones who introduced the modern department store industry to the mainland. They are the ones who introduced the wedding photo studio to the mainland. They introduced golf and bowling. They were the ones who introduced it to the mainland. So in those few years, almost all the eliminated bowling lanes in the world began to move to mainland China, setting off a wave of bowling craze in the mainland. At that time, bowling alleys became standard features in newly built large hotels, and in society, there were also a dedicated bowling alley. Liu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, also sensed this business opportunity, so he opened this bowling alley here. It was not that he did not want to make the bowling alley bigger, but that he found only these 4 second-hand bowling equipment and lanes, which were imported from Finland. What I found was that I rented the vacant space of the provincial gymnasium and built the arena myself. If you want to buy new equipment and lanes, the cost is too expensive. It is very likely that your investment will not be recovered when this wave of craze passes. Judging from foreign experience, bowling in mainland China will basically have a fever that will burn quickly and will not subside very quickly. Retreat quickly. Little brother, when construction started next door, mine hadn't started yet. I also thought about building the arena above you. Wouldn't it be great to put it above you? At that time, I thought it was because I didn't know the owner of that place. It's almost time to talk here again, otherwise, if I had continued searching, I wouldn't have been able to find you, haha. I can only say that the fate has not come yet. Liu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, laughed. Then how did you come here? Zhang Chen asked Zhou Yaqian. Zhou Yaqian said, I wasn't admitted to your place. I saw a recruitment notice posted at the door of the gymnasium next to me, so I came in to take a look. Unexpectedly, I met Boss Liu. He also knew me and accepted me. Haha, it seems that you are not destined yet. Liu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han dynasty, looked at Zhou Yaqian and said with a smile. By the way, you already knew that my little brother was next door, Han Emperor Liu Bang asked Zhou Yaqian. Zhou Yaqian nodded. Oh, why didn't you tell me earlier? The incident was so big that I don't even know if there was any unpleasantness between you two. When you came to the company later, you were so fierce. I'm afraid. Are you afraid that if I have a bad time with my little brother, I will rush to the next door to settle the score with him, right? Liu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, asked. Zhou Yaqian nodded. Liu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, laughed and said, you women, you will always think of men in your own frame. If men are so stingy, how can they do big things? That matter has passed. Let alone little brother, he is whoever you called him before. He is the father of that little bastard. Old chicken feather, Zhou Yaqian said. Yes, I met him last time by the West Lake and invited him to have dinner at the Overseas Chinese Hotel. Alas, it was quite miserable. After this man stopped being an official, he was no different from an ordinary old man. He was so old. Come on, if he hadn't called me, I wouldn't have recognized him. I didn't expect that he would change so much, and it makes people feel quite sad to see him. Lu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han dynasty, said with emotion. You didn't recognize him and he called you? Zhou Yaqiang asked curiously. Yes, he screamed and apologized to me. He said that it was because his son failed to live up to his expectations, and he was the only one to help him fight. After fighting and fighting, I didn't expect that you would lose money. Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, said. He asked. I apologized, I invited him to dinner, and we settled the matter. Also, who doesn't have children, how can he not think about his children? If he really doesn't recognize his relatives, I think he is worse than him. Zhang Chen nodded. By the way, little brother, where is your girlfriend? Her name is Xiao Zhao, right? Lu Bang, the founder of the Han dynasty, asked. Zhang Chen smiled and said, yes, Boss Lu has a really good memory. We are already married and have a son. Unfortunately, she went to Beijing on a business trip today and has not come back yet. Otherwise, if she knew you were here, she would definitely run away. Immediately came here. Haha, look at it, little brother, I was very optimistic about you at that time. Look at you now, you have a happy family and a successful career. I said that I was right, but I didn't miss anything. I'm really sorry for you. So happy, little brother. Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan shouted outside. Zhang Chen said to Han Emperor Lu Bang, my friend. He walked out and saw Lu Ligan looking around for him, shouting, here. Lu Lizang was scolding as he walked, you're humming with a girl. When I walked to the door, I saw that there was not only the woman in front of me, but also a middle-aged man. I quickly shut up. Zhang Chen introduced them to each other, and Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, nodded and said, they are all young and promising, just like me when I was young. You are not old now, you are still a handsome boy, Emperor Lu Ligan said. Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, quickly laughed and said, no, 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 this man, after that age, will be old every year. Looking at you now, I can only envy you. However, I saw my little brother today, and I know this man again. I really feel young. Lu Ligan looked around and said, then let's go. Both Lu Bang and Zhang Chen, the emperor of the Han dynasty, looked at him, wondering where he was going. Lu Ligan said, old friends can't meet without wine. We must meet in wine. Zhang Chen also agreed. Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, shouted, okay, I haven't had a good drink with anyone since I arrived in Hangzhou. It's okay today, let's go. Zhang Chen asked Zhou Yaqiang to go with him, and Zhou Yaqiang said, I'm still at work. Let's go together. What's the big deal? You and my little brother are also old friends meeting today. Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, said. Zhou Yaqiang said happily, the boss has said so, if I can still disobey, I will go change my clothes right away. After sitting in the car, Zhang Chen asked Han Emperor Lu Bang what he liked to eat. Lu Bang said, I will take you to a place to eat meat. Zhang Chen said yes. Lu Ligan drove the car and followed Zhang Chen's car. He was surprised how he went around and back to the place where he was eating mutton chops. Wen Wen and Qian were also surprised. The sheep's hair on his clothes and hair was strange. The taste hasn't gone away yet, so you won't be eating the lamb chops again, right? After getting off the car, Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan said that Boss Lu brought it. Lu Ligan and the three of them laughed. He Hung Mei said from the side, it seems that it is not just women who have a grudge against the sheep today. Everyone laughed. Han Emperor Lu Bang and Zhou Yaqiang didn't know why they were laughing, so Zhang Chen told them. Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, also laughed. It seems that today is really fate. We are destined to sheep. A group of people walked into the store, and the boss was also surprised. Why are these people here again? Thank you Wu Yehuan for the reward, ranked third from top to bottom. Thank you Wu Yehuan, Yuju, and Bailiang for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health.